She doesn't have a permit to run a boarding stable.
When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Janice Tickle is suing Sarah Joint for vet bills, boarding and hauling fees, and ransom money paid for a horse.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 290 on the calendar in the matter of Tickle versus Joint.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Ms. Tickle, you boarded a horse at the defendant's facility and you claimed the horse was injured while at that facility.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in addition, that when you tried to get the horse from the facility, the defendant sort of held the horse ransom because she claimed that you owed her money.
Yes.
And I read her answer, and her answer is clear. She said that the horse was, in fact, injured at her facility, correct?
Yes.
And that she immediately called your vet, correct?
Yes.
And that your vet said that in order for your vet to come out to look at the horse, she would have to pay a past due bill of yours. In addition, what's the name of your vet?
It's one of my vets. It's Dr.
The vet that you called.
Dr. Purdue, who's the person she indicated on the boarding agreement as her vet of record.
Fine. On what date was the horse injured?
September 7th.
Okay. Now, on September 7th, did you owe Dr. Purdue money? That's very easy. I can make a call.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much money did you owe Dr. Purdue?
$280.
How long did you owe Dr. Purdue the $280?
It was 6 months or so, 9 months.
Why didn't you pay the doctor their bill?
I had sold my house and had moved.
Well,
and
okay. You didn't pay the bill. Okay, so
Right.
she's absolutely correct. Called the doctor. The doctor said she owes me money. I'm not coming out to see this horse unless you pay what she owes me plus the visit.
Which was $900, not $250.
Not $280.
Not $280. It was $900. That's what they told me. And it was a year in arrears.
Now, on September 7th, did Miss Tickle owe you any money for boarding the horse?
Yes, she had not paid September's board, which was due on the 1st.
Did she pay August's bill?
She did, but I think it was late.
But she paid August's bill, so by September 7th, she really wasn't that much delayed.
Not too late, no. But
No.
she had disappeared, and the horse was supposed to be picked up on September 1st, and I hadn't heard from her and couldn't reach her.
Just a second. When you say the horse was supposed to be picked up, what does that mean?
She advised me sometime in July that she never showed up, nothing happened, that she never called, text, nothing, zero. I thought the horse had been abandoned.
Okay. Now, on September 1st, had you made an arrangement, because I read your complaint, to transfer the horse to another facility that was closer? That's what you say, so be careful your answer.
Right. The date, though, is incorrect. It was an oral statement that
I don't care if it's oral or not. Did you tell her that you were going to be picking up the horse on September 1st because, according to you, you were looking for another facility that was much closer to me? Because you told her
But not on. I said I need to find the right facility. My horse has known allergies, which she gets hives, Your Honor, that are all over her body, and it's a health problem. The hives break open. She's not able to lay down. They get
So why
infected.
didn't you pay your vet?
I paid my vet when I got the bill. There was
you
a problem
didn't.
with my getting mail to my new address, so
When did you move?
I moved in August, put everything in storage. In September, I moved into...
Well, this bill was due in December,
Right,
according
this
to
was
you.
in
So you would have
December.
gotten it January, February, March, April, May. You would have gotten the bill.
Right, Your Honor.
Okay.
Usually I was present when the vet would come out. This is the first time a vet has ever seen my horse. I've owned her 10 years without me being present.
Ms.
I
Tickle,
have
let's go. How much did you pay the defendant?
Horse on-
Yes, in September.
When I actually picked her up in September,
How much did you pay her? Well, let me go back.
Okay.
Ms. Joint, how much was her monthly boarding fee?
$325.
So she owed you that in September.
She owed me that, yes.
Okay. Now, do you know how the horse was injured? It had a large hole in its chest.
I have no idea how the horse was injured. No one was there, no one saw it. It's impossible to know.
I'd like
Horses,
to
unfortunately, injure themselves quite regularly in their paddocks, and you don't know necessarily how they did it.
Well, I'd like to see what you wrote up about the horse's injury.
What I wrote about it?
You have a log, I assume, that you keep with regard to the horses that you board.
I don't board horses regularly. This was a one-off situation. She was a companion horse for my horse because another horse went away, so they didn't like being alone. But it's not a regular thing. It's kind of like a roommate situation.
Do you have a contract?
Yes.
I'd like to look at it.
Okay.
Your Honor,
What?
I met the defendant because she advertised a stall for rent, boarding stalls in Craigslist.
How long did you keep your horse there?
From January 13th, 2014 until
So it was there for a very long time, and
Yes.
clearly you were satisfied.
Yes.
Otherwise, you would have moved it.
Right. Everything was fine up until I got hurt.
Okay. This is your contract. And this says that if the horse becomes injured, which they'll first try to contact the boarder.
Which I did desperately.
Just a second. That's fine. And the second thing that you do is if you can't contact her, she gives you permission to contact her vet,
Correct.
which you did.
Correct.
If the boarder's veterinarian is unavailable, the boarder authorizes the stable to call its veterinarian in an emergency, and that the boarder will be fully responsible for all veterinary charges so incurred. So you really had the responsibility to call a vet, but it's her responsibility to pay.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Correct. So the part of your request for vet bills, she's not responsible for those pursuant to this contract. You are.
Right, Your Honor, but her boarding contract, she doesn't have a home occupational permit to run a boarding stable in Simi Valley, and that's required to...
Hey, you kept the horse there for 9 months.
Right.
When did you have this epiphany that she wasn't allowed to do what she was doing? When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
I needed...
What I'm telling you is you have a contract, and your contract says that you pay the vet bill. Right now, you owe her $325 because your horse was there in the month of September.
I
Has this
paid that.
happened? You paid it?
Yes, I did.
Great. How much did you pay her?
I paid $325. I sent it to her through bill pay.
An email from my bank saying it was canceled.
I canceled it, Your Honor, after...
So you owe her $325.
No, I paid that... She gave me a billing, Your Honor, when I came. She'd
To
never
pick up
given...
the horse, she said to you, you're not getting the horse unless you give me so much money.
Right, and she added on erroneous
Just a
charges
second.
and add-ons.
Just a second. How much money did you give her?
I gave her $1,584.
Okay. Now we come back to you. What is $1,584 for?
It was, I have a line item billing of everything that I did for the horse, being that I had understood the horse was abandoned for the last 2 months.
Well, I don't care what you understand, actually. I don't care what you understand. 7 days is not abandoned.
She had not been to see that horse for months.
That's not true.
That's actually impossible because she told me that a month prior or 2 months prior, she had a conversation with you that she was moving the horse.
I believe it was a text exchange.
I don't care if it was
Exchange.
text or by smoke signals.
She had not been to the facility to see the horse.
Listen to me. It doesn't matter. So far, she owes you $325 for boarding for the month of September.
I'd be happy to show you the billing with the receipts that I have.
Take a look. She paid you in August.
I apologize, it's
Just a-
complicated because we have...
No way. So baloney. Take it back. She owes you $325 because the horse hadn't been there the whole month of September. According to this, twice a month.
She also paid hay in addition to the board.
I understand that.
And
But it's-
I fed her horse, and I gave it medical care, which it was essential, or the horse could have got an infection and been very sick.
Let me tell you what you were required to do pursuant to your contract. You were required to get a vet.
I did. I called the vet, and
No, I read your
I
answer.
spoke to the vet.
I read your answer.
and he gave me his recommendation.
I read your answer. You don't get paid for that. You personally, unless you paid
administering
it. Just
care
a
to a
second.
horse
Listen to me.
that's left at my property
Listen
that's
to me
abandoned.
carefully. Unless the vet sent you a bill, you don't get paid for that.
How do you...
Did the vet send you the bill
I'm
for the
supposed to
conversation?
treat
I'm
the horse for
speaking.
free?
Just answer the question. Did the vet send you a bill for the conversation that you had with the vet to tell you how to fix the injury, this large gaping hole in the horse's chest that happened while it was under your care?
No.
Did the vet tell? The answer
He
is
gave
no.
me free
so
advice because he
$1,584
knew
less
I thought it was
$325,
abandoned.
which is actually what she owed you, which she didn't pay, which is $162. So far, $1,261. Yes. So how much does it cost for the horse's food for the 9 months that the horse was there?
It was $100 a month average for 6 bales of hay. That's what my size horse consumes.
Over the 9-month period, what did you pay
I paid
for
on
food?
average of $120 a month.
Well, now it's from 100 to 120. Why don't we think again? How much did you pay for the horse's food for the 9 months that the horse was there?
$120 a month was for the hay.
Fine, less 120.
No, I paid that though. I paid that. She would give me.
In September?
She would tell me the amount.
Just a second. In September?
That's in her billing.
Just a second. What
That's
billing?
in her billing that she gave to me.
Oh, I'm deducting certain figures. I'm deducting from what you gave her, $15.84. I'm deducting what you owe her,
Right.
$325 for the boarding for the month of September.
Right.
You owe her $120 for food. I'm deducting that from the money that you gave her. This is your lawsuit.
$60, Your Honor, because it would have been half the month.
So far, $1,141 is what you're entitled to back from what she gave you, because you're not getting paid for the vet, for you acting like a vet on a horse that was injured on your watch. Food and her monthly boarding for September. What else does she owe you?
Grain, because I had to stop feeding the horse because it was...
In the 9 months that you had the horse there, other than September, did you ever feed the horse and bill her for grain? The answer is either yes...
She brought the grain up until around July timeframe. June, July, I started feeding the horse because she was no longer bringing food for
Just
it.
a second. I'm giving you hay. That's in your deal. And I gave you for the whole month, not just half of it. What I asked you was, had you ever previously billed her for grain?
Before July, no, because
No.
she brought her
Okay,
own.
$11.41. What else?
The medical care. I flushed that wound 3 times a day.
$11.41. That's what you're entitled to, not $4,803. $11.41. That takes off the food for the horse and the $325 that you owe her.
Okay.
It actually says in my contract that I'm entitled to bill for medical care I provide the
No,
horse if I have to.
no.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Did you know that that car was worth $84.50? 1983 Chevy Silverado? No, impossible.
It had some stuff done to it. It was
I don't
lower.
care what it had onto it. I don't care if it sang Happy Birthday in Mandarin.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janice Tickle says Sarah Joint wouldn't return to suing for her damages.
Now, it says that you are required to provide veterinary care.
I gave the
by
horse
a vet-
veterinary care
Oh,
under
not
veterinary
by-
advice.
Are you a licensed veterinary
No,
doctor?
but my witness is a vet tech, and I went under her advice and the doctor's advice
Good.
on how
You don't
to
get
treat
paid
the
for
wound.
that. 1141. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're
you.
done.
Why did y'all excuse me? Step out.
If it were her horse and the tables were turned, I would have called another vet and another vet and another vet.
She didn't contact me for a week after the horse was injured.
Until I had that horse, the gapping wound,
I texted her, I called her, I emailed her.
sealed up and cleaned up.
I went way above and beyond.
I learned a lesson. I will never board at a private backyard facility,
Take care of your animals and go visit them when you're supposed to.
and certainly not through one I find on Craigslist.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fawcett versus Gutierrez. Step forward.
Matthew and Dawn Fawcett are suing Caleb Gutierrez for money owed for a truck.
Bird, would you do me a favor? I don't know if our books go back this far. I'd like you to look up a 1983 Chevy Silverado and tell me what the blue book value of that car is while I'm inquiring. This is what the lawsuit is about, Mr. and Mrs. Fawcett. It is your claim checked for you. In addition, you say that you sold him a 1983 Chevy Silverado for $3,000.
We didn't sell it to him. It was part of our payment to Caleb for the kitchen job, plus we added cash in on top of that.
So you were doing some barter.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to find out how much the truck is worth.
$84.50.
$8,000.
$8,450.
1983 Chevy Silverado? No, impossible.
It had some stuff done to it. It was
I don't
lower.
care what it had onto it. I don't care if it sang Happy Birthday in Mandarin.
They're very sought after now to be customized and lowered, which
I don't
it was.
care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car before you paid for it by doing the work you were supposed to do? So they were trusting people. So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Matthew and Dawn Fawcett claim Caleb Gutierrez owes for a truck.
Bert, I have to see it. I mean, we're talking about a 24-year-old Chevy Silverado. And where does this say Silverado here?
This is Silverado.
Let's see, Silverado package. I find that absolutely astounding. Did you know that that car was worth $84.50?
I did not, and I don't believe it is.
Well, I'm looking here, so I am going to show you what it says in this Kelley Blue Book. Would you show him what it says? I mean, I actually was amazed, Mr. Gutierrez.
Yeah, I suppose that would be if it's in excellent condition, which I doubt.
Even if it's in lousy condition, it's worth more than $1,200, right?
Could be, yes.
Not could be. So let's say they gave you a truck that's worth $6,000, and what you paid them was $1,250.
Yeah.
So they were expecting you to do another $4,000 worth of work. Let's say we take that figure. And I'm giving you the benefit of every doubt.
Yeah.
Did you do $4,000 worth of work for them?
Not completed, no. But the original job...
I want to know what you did for them.
Well, we refaced the cabinets, is what it started out as. Ended up
I want to know not what it started out as. I want to know what you did for them. You got a $6,000, and that's giving you a great deal. $6,000 car for $1,250, which is what you gave them, which means I want to see you doing $4,350 worth of work.
Okay.
Did you do $4,300 worth of work?
They wouldn't let me complete the job, so no.
Oh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, they're only suing you for $3,500.
I don't believe they thought the truck was worth that much either. I still don't
you
see
think
how it would be.
You don't think it is? I don't think it is, but that's what the book says it is.
The fair price in there was, I think,
Was what?
$1,450, it said.
No. What's the fair price? I think he made a mistake there.
Maybe I was looking at the wrong one, but
I think you were. I think that the Silverado package added 10% onto the long bed truck.
Okay.
What's the fair price?
$42.25.
$42.25. That's in fair condition. There's excellent, there's good, there's fair.
Well...
What happened to the truck?
The tires are flat, and I don't drive it.
Well, now you know how valuable it is. Maybe you'll drive it.
True.
Any excuse why you didn't finish the job?
They just made it hard to go in there and work.
Explain to me how they made it hard.
They started threatening me, threatening my
you
wife.
how? Just a second. No. Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car before you paid for it by doing the work you were supposed to do? So they were trusting people, right? So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
Because we just had... The job was taking longer than we expected.
Than you expected.
Both of us.
Than you expected.
Okay.
You owe them $3,500. That's what they're suing for. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Judge, please, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Just bringing my wife into this when she had nothing to do with it, harassing me with phone calls and texts all day long.
Well, you know, when he says harass and threaten, I had to show up to his place of business, which is his home.
They did some sort of a check. They found out where I lived, showed up at my house.
I never entered his property. I stayed in my truck in the road, called him, and he came out. So I don't know what he's talking about.
You know, it was just difficult to work for them.
Them up front
Yeah, money up front.
for a job before they finish it.
You did not let her know you were moving to Texas.
Correct.
Parents on the run from one another.
She moved 2 weeks after she was pregnant. She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California.
Or a dad fleeing from his responsibilities.
How much child support were you sending?
$800 a month.
And were you receiving that?
No, and definitely not all the time. He is about $9,000 to $10,000 behind right now.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ezra Masters is suing the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, for reimbursement of travel expenses after she blocked him from seeing his daughter.
Order. All rise. It's case number 223 on the calendar in the matter of Masters versus Martin.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Masters, you and Miss Martin have a child together, and it is your claim that Miss Martin purposely sabotaged a planned visitation, and when you traveled to see her, and you want Miss Martin to compensate you for the travel expenses that you incurred during that visit. That's what your case is about. Miss Martin says that the visitation had been rescinded by a judge at the time that you went to visit the child. She has a ridiculous counterclaim that I'll get to in a moment. But your counterclaim is a silly one. Now, how old is your child?
She's almost 4, 3.5.
And where do you live, Mr. Masters?
Dallas, Texas.
And where do you live, Miss Martin?
California, Los Angeles.
And when the child was born, where were you living, Mr. Masters?
California, Los Angeles.
So you moved to Texas?
Yes, ma'am, 3 months ago.
Is there a reason that you moved to Texas?
Work. Being here in California is hard to find work, a lot of competition. But Dallas is just a better lifestyle.
Now, when you were in Los Angeles and your child was born, were you and Miss Martin ever residing together?
No, ma'am.
When your daughter was born, was there a declaration of paternity declaring you to be the father? You were never married, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
And at one point, there had to have been a court action because there was a visitation in place. Who initiated that?
I initiated that. I filed for custody and visitation.
And was there a judicial order
Yes.
put in place? I'd like to see it.
I don't have the one from Maryland.
Do you have it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
From what jurisdiction?
The baby was born in Maryland. I have one from Maryland.
Was born in Maryland because you left Los Angeles.
Yes.
Who lives in Maryland? Family?
My family.
And did he come and see the child when the child was born in
He
Maryland?
came. Yes.
So I assume things were reasonable at that point.
No, ma'am.
Not really.
Not really was sufficient for him to come to visit you in Maryland. He traveled from
Yes, he
Los
came to
Angeles.
see. He came to meet his daughter. Yes.
Okay, fine.
That was fine.
And you don't have the original orders of visitation.
No, I didn't bring that one.
Do you have the latest one?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. And when did you plan, sir, on visiting your daughter?
This was August the 18th, that weekend.
And was that pursuant to the order of visitation then in place?
Yes, ma'am.
In August?
Yes, ma'am. And here's that order.
No. This was filed in July.
That is the most recent one. There is not one after that. That is the one that was in place. On August 19th, that's the one that was in place.
I want to see one that was in place between 2013 and 2016.
I don't have that.
There it is, ma'am.
That's not it. That is something that he filed in June. That is not the original one.
I see what happened. He filed an action July 13th, 2016, and in his action, he was asking for joint legal custody, and visitation was granted weekends starting immediately, and a visitation.
No, he filed a regular, normal hearing, but I wasn't notified of the hearing. That's why I wasn't present. I would have been there.
Who knows? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now, can you tell me, Mr. Masters, why you found it necessary to file a case on July 13th?
So to clarify the timeline, Miss Martin and I were in a brief relationship. We decided to go on have a co-parenting relationship here in California. This situation arose because I didn't know if I could have children. It was kind of a dire situation. So
whatever. But you left for Texas.
Yes, 3 months ago. Yes.
Did you let the defendant know that you were relocating to Texas?
Her and I are in minimal communication. Everything was filed through the court system.
So the answer is you did not tell her that
Directly,
you were
no.
leaving for Texas in June, is
Correct.
my question.
Correct.
Now, had you been seeing your daughter regularly before?
Yes, until she had ceased.
Just a second. Before June, had you been seeing her regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Shh. How regularly?
I was seeing her every Wednesday and every Sunday. This was allowed in the court order. Actually, I was supposed to have it for the weekend. She would not allow me to have it for the weekend.
So is what you're telling me the last order that was in existence?
Yes, ma'am.
Was for weekend visitation
Yes, ma'am.
from the state of Maryland?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it?
Okay.
Mr. Masters,
Yes, ma'am.
I have to tell you that I'm usually very sympathetic with parents who are trying to see their children. But I'm trying to understand you, sir. You left Los Angeles in June. You never notified the defendant that you were moving. You may have discussed it with her, but you didn't notify her that you were moving. And according to what I'm hearing, you had no contact with her until you filed this action in mid-July, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the action that you filed in Los Angeles on July 13th, you asked for weekend visitation commencing immediately, correct?
Correct.
That's what you asked for.
Correct.
And I don't know what you said to the judge at that time, but the judge signed an ex parte order that said this order supersedes the order from Maryland. This is the order from Maryland. And the order from Maryland says that commencing in 2015, you shall be accorded 48-hour visits, which includes an overnight, on 30 days' notice to the other side.
Exactly.
Did you give Miss Martin 30 days' notice of your intention to exercise weekend visitation after you moved to Texas?
No, ma'am.
So after you moved with her,
Directly, no. Through her father, yes. That's why her father's sitting there.
on what date did you have contact with her father?
Most significant time was June the 8th when I was on the road driving to Texas. We were trying to figure out the situation.
Since June the 8th, did you have any contact with her father?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me about it.
When I was in California,
When you were in California, on what date?
that weekend, 8/18.
So between June
Yes.
and 8/18, you didn't have contact with her father. You tried to have contact with her father when you came up for the weekend for visitation.
No, ma'am. We spoke on several occasions in
No,
regards
I
to
want you to tell me
Yes.
when.
Okay. So I spoke with him several weeks throughout July, all the way up until my visitation.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Spoke to him about what?
The visitation of my daughter. And the custody.
Specifically.
Specifically, I wanted to see my daughter. We arranged that we were going to come the first, third. He asked me specifically when. He was very adamant when I'm going to see my daughter. I told him I would come during the custody hearing. That third weekend, 8/19, was the actual hearing date on that Friday. I told him I would be there, which was in alignment with the order that I had. I would be there.
You're
that
talking
weekend.
about the ex parte order that you got for weekends.
I'm
Not the Maryland order.
Right, there's 3 orders. She had the ex parte. That's why I'm confused.
No,
she
no.
had the ex parte. I'm a little confused.
Don't be confused, sir.
I didn't do an ex parte.
You didn't go to the courthouse together with her.
Right, okay, maybe I'm not understanding what ex parte is.
You
in that way.
didn't go to the courthouse
Okay.
together. You filed, in effect, an interim order
Okay.
when they set it down for hearing. But meanwhile, the only order that was in place prior to you getting this order that you got,
Yes.
superseding this Maryland order, was an order that says you may have 48-hour visitation on 30 days' notice
Yes, ma'am.
to the defendant. I'm not hearing that you gave the defendant 30 days' notice of your intention to exercise visitation the weekend of August 18th. I haven't heard that you gave her 30 days' notice. All I hear is you left where your daughter was living, and she's 4. So there's no communication with the 4-year-old, who, according to you used to see Wednesdays and Sundays. And then the next thing she hears from you is that there's now an order in place where you can come and pick up your daughter from school, which is what you did. You went to the school to pick her up, right?
No.
Wait.
Yeah, that part is correct. The first part is not right. There's 2 different things you just mentioned. The second part you mentioned, to go to her school, that is correct. The first part, prior to that, I had been in constant communication with her father and letting her know that there was an order in place. And I contacted him when we had the court hearing asking where was his daughter and why was she not there.
Okay, let me tell you this. I'm not granting your application for travel. When you leave the jurisdiction and you have a 4-year-old and you want to have a relationship with that child, you're not moving for custody of that child, but you want to have a relationship with her, which you should, then you don't change what is a primary order. You send a registered letter 30 days before you intend to exercise your visitation, and you send it to the defendant and you say, I'm coming up from Texas on the 18th of August. I'm giving you notice that I would like to exercise my visitation on August 18th. For that 48-hour period, because I now live far away. And if you did that, and she, not her father, not back and forth with her, she had noticed, because she's the mother of your child, you should be in constant communication with her. How many children do you have?
I have 1 child. She moved 2 weeks after she was pregnant. Essentially, this is a sperm donor situation. I had been making contact repeatedly. I had made several visits to Maryland, pleading with her, several emails, hundreds of emails, pleading to her to bring my daughter back. At the time, I didn't know that this was...
Let me explain something to you.
I found out she was on welfare, Your Honor. This is why. Yes.
Pay careful attention.
Yes.
Anybody that refers to himself in a situation like this as merely a sperm donor is not operating with the right brain.
This is how she she's conducted.
Just a second. Is not operating with the right brain. And, I mean, I thought you were under the impression that you couldn't have children?
I didn't know. There was a suspicion at the time because of...
There was I thought I heard that.
Yes. Yes.
I thought I heard that, that you at least believed that there might be a possibility that you couldn't have
remote,
children.
but I didn't know. Yes.
Whatever it is. She went back to Maryland because I assume that this was not a relationship that you had with her that was going to blossom into something.
Thank you. We were in a relationship, yes.
Tell me, she was pregnant. Were you supportive during that?
Absolutely. Absolutely supportive.
Tell me what you did.
I was working. At the time period, she was not. She was working.
Stop.
At the time period, the discussions that we had was as far as how we're going to move forward when it comes to the child. Her issue was that she did not want to work because her mother was supporting her at the time. She felt because she was pregnant, said this is not the situation that we had.
Were you living together?
No, we were not living together, no.
Okay, so you weren't living together even during her pregnancy?
She had just got pregnant. We were in these discussions, but when she was conceived, no, we were not living together. But we were in these discussions.
But you were not living together?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
What?
Am I going to have my turn?
Eventually, if you need to. Okay. Eventually, if you need to.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California. So that communication...
Just a second. Was that a breached communication?
Not all the time.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ezra Masters says the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, owes for travel expenses after she blocked him from seeing his daughter. The defendant is countersuing for lost wages and emotional distress.
So the defendant went home to be with her family while she was pregnant. It was wonderful that you went there and visited twice.
No, I'm sorry, 4 times, but yes.
That's great. But time that is important to me,
yes,
within the context of your case seeking reimbursement for traveling expenses, you were under an order. The only order that the two of you knew about was a Maryland order that required you to give her 30 days notice of your intention to exercise visitation.
Yes, I had done that on several occasions because when I thought that she was in Maryland, I did not find out she was in California until welfare notified me that she was in California.
On what year?
This was 2015.
Just a second. Well, then there was a substantial period of time that you didn't see your daughter.
Oh, I saw her. As soon as I found out about that, she was in California.
There was a substantial period of time when you did not regularly see your daughter.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. So there was irregular visitation then from Maryland, where you were living, to California.
Yes.
Where did you go in between?
I traveled to Florida. I traveled to...
I mean, when I say travel, I don't mean travel for a week. Did you live in Florida?
No. I lived in Maryland until I lived here again.
Okay. I'm not talking about traveling on vacation. So you went from Maryland back to California?
Yes.
Great. So there was a substantial period of time when you did not see your daughter.
Yes.
Okay. When you did not file any action, because you weren't denied visitation, but she was in Maryland.
Yes, I was denied visitation.
Well, you didn't file the action, sir, until after you were notified by child support that she was receiving welfare and they were coming after you for support.
She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California. So that communication...
Just a second.
Yes.
Was that a breached communication? How much child support were you sending?
$800 a month. It's enforced. They take it automatically out of my account.
And were you receiving that?
No, and definitely not all the time. He wasn't working for a lot of the time, so they couldn't garnish his wages.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This is why she was awarded the ex parte, because she essentially...
No, I got...
Well, it says domestic violence. It says I violated... It says I hacked the computer system and changed her address into my... Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ezra Masters has accused the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, of owing for travel expenses. Chanel has a countersuit for lost wages and emotional distress.
Now, in what month and year did you come to California?
February 2015.
And did you apply for public assistance at that time?
Yes.
Were you working in February of 2015?
Yes, ma'am. Here's where I paid. This is documentation I paid. I still paid directly to Maryland.
Just a second.
Yes. There are 3 pages there.
Pays his child support regularly. It comes right out of his check.
No, he does not pay his child support regularly. If he happened to pay those months that he sent to you, I can't keep in my mind every time because it is now and then. He is about $9,000 to $10,000 behind right now. So if he was paying,
they garnished in March of 2016. They received $4,540.
Yes, I assume that was from his tax return. That was
I'm
this
sure
year.
it was. I know it was from his tax return
Because he was so far behind.
But his payments have been consistent since March of 2015, April 2015, and this goes back to February of 2015. Paper is in place now for visitation.
What's in place now?
Is nothing?
I mean, she has the ex parte, and this is where she
When are you supposed to be
We go back
someplace
to court
for hearing?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We go back to court tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And through her ex parte agreement, and what she mentioned earlier, this is why she was awarded the ex parte, because she essentially...
No,
Well, it says domestic violence. It says I violated. It says I hacked the computer system and changed her address into my address.
Wait a second. She's not going to be able to prove any of that.
Yeah. No, I know.
Listen to me. She's not going to be able to prove any of that.
Yes.
But the one thing she can establish, sir, to the judge, which doesn't let you prevail here, is that you left the jurisdiction where your child was living, and you didn't communicate that to the defendant. And the next contact she has is that you are going to exercise a visitation order from a court where she was not present, and it changed an order that had been in place in Maryland where both of you were present, and a court had an opportunity to hear both of you and to figure out who was stretching the truth and who was not, and where everybody was. The only time is when the 2 of you were together in Maryland. Subsequent to that, you went to court.
Yes.
And you got an order changing that order from Maryland. Because it's not the way to do business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I'm telling you, whether you like him or not, you picked him. Your daughter has a right to know her father. I'm sure that the family court judge before whom you appear tomorrow will let you know that that's the way they feel.
He can see her. He just doesn't.
No.
Great.
She has denied me every time.
Just a second.
Majority.
Well, that's not true, sir. That's not true,
Ma'am, that
because
is
you
true.
told me
Yes, ma'am.
at this hearing that before you left in June, you were seeing the child on Wednesdays and Sundays.
That's
what you told me.
She disallowed
Your
me
case
from
is
seeing my
dismissed.
child.
We're done.
Okay. Thank you, Your
Your
Honor.
counterclaim, I said nonsense at the time. It's still nonsense.
Okay.
Judge, excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My daughter's the victim because this woman doesn't see that I'm a fantastic father trying to love my daughter. That's it.
I mean, he's using the court system to, I guess, save face. He's a very absent parent.
And my daughter is only a victim because this woman has...
He gave a nice little spiel about how he wants to be a dad. It's false.
Making a point to...
He's having an adult temper tantrum, and instead of actually being a dad...
She needs to grow up. It's really unfortunate that people can see a woman in a pretty dress, pretend to be innocent and just assume that she's right.
Because she's 3.5. He could have been a great dad by now. He'd rather play around and spend his energy trying to upset me.
I'm going to fight to the day. If I have to stalk this woman from a bridge to make sure that my daughter's okay, then that's what I'll do.
I mean, if he wants to be a dad, I can't wait for that day for him to actually be a father. But if not, we are really fine without him, so...
I needed $4,800.
Why?
Because I was getting a house.
No money, no problem.
Why did you ask him to take out this very high-priced loan?
I didn't have the rest.
Don't move into a $4,800 house.
Until she had a problem with him.
I found out that Sean was a convicted felon. At that point, I told him that we could no longer see each other. You are such a hustler, Miss Sims.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sean Chris Boykin is suing his ex-girlfriend, Maisha Sims, for an unpaid loan and lost wages.
Now it's case number 182 on the calendar in the matter of Boykin versus Sims.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Boykin, you had a short relationship with the defendant. During that time, according to your complaint, she was sort of short on money. She was living out of her car. She needed rent and security deposit and stuff. She had some of the money, but she didn't have all that she needed. Your complaint says that you took out a loan for her through a loan company, $2,600. And the loan had extraordinarily high interest payments on it. And the agreement was she was to repay in installments the money. According to you, she stopped being your girlfriend. She also didn't pay the loan. And the loan, which was $2,600, according to you, is now $3,543 because the interest keeps accumulating. Ms. Sims says that the agreement was that she was supposed to pay half of the loan. You took some of the money when the loan was granted. How much?
$200.
Why?
Because she gave me that for basically pulling out the loan for her.
Well, let me ask you a question. Were you working at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing?
At that time, I was doing construction as well as plumbing.
Do you get paid by the hour or by the call?
By the hour.
How many hours a week were you working?
40.
How long have you been working for the same company, and what's the name of the company?
5 years at Vantage Sales and Marketing.
So why couldn't you take out your own loan?
I didn't have the
Just a
credit.
second. Why couldn't you take? You were working for 5 years, working a 40-hour week, and according to you, you were living in your car.
I went through a divorce, and I fell into a financial crisis, and I didn't have the money.
Do you know I'm not believing you? It's not that I'm necessarily not believing the case. I may be believing the case, but I'm not necessarily believing you. You want to start over again with me? Financial crisis is a nice term. You were working at the same job for 5 years. You had saved up how much money?
I had about $2,000.
And how much did you need?
I needed $4,800.
Why?
Because I was getting a house. I was buying a house.
You were buying a house?
I was attempting to buy a house, lease with the option to buy, and I needed a deposit.
So you needed $2,800?
In addition to what I had,
In addition to what you had?
Yes.
Are you still in that house?
Yes.
Did you buy it?
No.
Where is it located?
It's in Los Angeles.
And what's the current rent, and to whom do you pay that rent?
It's currently $1,400, and I pay it to Bob.
Who's Bob? The 18-month rental, you needed $4,800.
It was first and last.
I got it.
And a deposit, a security deposit. She charged a separate deposit. They charged a separate deposit.
Okay, that's usually equivalent to 1 month's rent.
It was not.
How much was the security deposit?
$2,400.
Well, if you had $2,000, why did you ask him to take out this very high-priced loan?
I didn't have the rest.
Then you don't move into a $4,800 house, you fool.
He offered.
I would like to see all of the loan papers that you filled out.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to see a Xerox copy. They don't use Xerox anymore. What do they say? A copy of anything. I want to see the loan papers that you filled out.
Okay. Sir.
I'd like to see a copy of your lease.
I don't have a copy of my lease.
Go get it.
I didn't bring it with me.
Well, we'll get it. We're going to get it. We'll get it, and I'll see you after lunch. Get me a copy of your lease. Got it?
Parties are excused. This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So what you're trying to tell me, sir, that you were never intimate with the defendant?
There was no intimate relationship.
Were you intimate with?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
In a case earlier today, Sean Chris Boykin says ex-girlfriend Maisha Sims owes for a loan and lost wages.
Now, this is a recall of case number 182 in the matter of Boykin versus Sims.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
Okay, Miss Sims, when we left, I sent you home to get from your landlord a copy of your lease. Do you have it?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Sure.
Dixon.
That's my boyfriend.
I thought he was your boyfriend.
No, he wasn't my boyfriend.
Well, what was he?
My friend.
Do you know Mr. Dixon?
I met him
When did you meet him?
probably about a month and a half ago.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you meeting him.
I was starting to get tired of dealing with the defendant about giving me my money. And so I went over, which was probably, I would think, probably ill-advised on my half, but I went over to confront her about my money because she had clearly broken the agreement that we had. So I told her, it was one morning about there, and he happened to be pulling out from the house that they bought, that she bought with money.
No, they're tenants.
Okay.
They moved in as co-tenants.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So I went over there, and he was pulling out. I guess he was taking, I'm not sure who the child was in the car, but he was taking some child to school, I assume. He stopped because...
Whose child is that?
It's his child.
Who lives in the house?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. When he saw me going to the house, he stopped the car, and he said, "What's up?" like that. And I'm like, "What's up?" You know, back to him. So I knocked on the door. She came to the door, and she said, "Well, what's going on?" I said, "You know, I went through..."
No, tell me what you said. Don't tell me I went through. She said, "What's going on?"
And I said, "Where's my money?" Yeah.
And?
He, at the time, I could see he clearly didn't know that this happened. He didn't know what was going on because he was in the dark that she had took this money from me. So I was explaining, I said, "Listen, I need my money. I need to, because every day you're making this percentage go up higher and higher." And I told her, had she paid the money back in the time that she was supposed to, this percentage would never be as high as it would. I think the loan company would have only about maybe $100. In January. And so all these times I kept going on and on and on. But to be more specific to your question, Your Honor, that was the day that I met, was that day, about 2 months ago, I would say.
You are such a hustler, Miss Sims. Let me read what you wrote in your answer. You said, "I kept up my end of the bargain and made all of the payments I had agreed to. A few months after the loan," and the loan was in January.
Yes,
a few months after the loan, which would have been March, "I found out that Sean was a convicted felon. At that point, I told him that we could no longer see each other, and I then rekindled my relationship with my former boyfriend." But this lease you signed in January with your former boyfriend, who is now your current boyfriend in January. Are you following what I'm saying? Do you want me to repeat it? Because you look confused. I don't want you to be confused about anything that I say. You signed this lease on January 28th with Dixon. Am I confused?
No, you're not confused.
So that the answer that you filed here is incorrect.
It's incorrect.
Which means that the story that you told was incorrect.
I was paying the money back.
No. Which means that the story you told here in this deposition that you signed is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Now, I'm going to show you your lease, and I want you, because perhaps I'm going to make a big circle on this lease where it says that you paid $1,400 for the first month's rent, $1,400 for the second month's rent, and $2,400 in security. I want you to circle that, because what you told me you needed to move in was $4,800, and you had $2,000. So I want you to circle the $2,400 I see. Now I want you to circle where you paid the $1,400 first month's rent and the $1,400 last month's rent.
Here you go.
No. This says the monthly rent is $1,400.
So I had
payable on the first of the month, and a $2,400 security deposit. That's $3,800.
Okay, $3,800. I miscalculated, not $4,838.
I want to know how long you dated her.
Ma'am, dating, I wouldn't say that's the word. I wouldn't characterize it as dating.
Well, tell me what you would characterize it as.
I would characterize it as a person that I had known.
How did you find her?
Through the woman who I was dating. It was her cousin.
And then you stopped dating her. Look at me. Don't give me an If I'm wrong, just tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I wrong, or is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am, you're wrong.
Okay, tell me about it. I'm going to read it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly how it went down.
I love it. I love it.
What occurred, Your Honor, was that Antoinette, my witness, who I was dating at the time, well, we were not talking anymore. She was distraught. Antoinette was distraught because she wasn't able to talk to me. She gave my phone number to Maisha. Maisha called me. We started talking strictly only as friends and about Antoinette. And then, as we started becoming friends, that's when she already knew she was out on her luck, that she was living in her car. I saw this with my own eyes. So that's when she started going into like, hey, you know, my family won't help me. Could you help me out?
Is what you're trying to tell me, sir, that you were never intimate with the defendant?
There was no intimate relationship, Your Honor.
Well, those are two words put together. I didn't put those two words together, sir. You put the two words together. Intimate and relationship are two entirely different things. I asked you one word. I didn't say if you were in a relationship. I said, were you intimate with?
Yes, ma'am.
We were not.
That was very clever. I give you credit for that. You weren't in an intimate relation. Okay, maybe.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This says that you borrowed $2,600. If you make the minimum payments, the total you will have paid back is $12,533. Isn't there such a thing as usury in this state?
And later today,
I heard mumbling and then skerfuffling and then cursing and then a really loud bang. And I knocked on the door and Mr. Stone was on the floor, drunk.
Okay, so he was drunk and he fell on the floor. And?
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sean Chris Boykin says ex-girlfriend Maisha Sims owes for a loan and lost wages.
Now I'd like you to show me how much of this loan you paid off.
I've paid $1,500.
Show me. 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 What is this?
That's the receipt from the place showing how much I paid to date and what the principal is left.
Total paid was $500.
No, the total paid is on the other receipt with the card. I paid a total of $1,500.
Oh, no, this is nothing. You see, this is nothing.
Well, the loan is in his...
Gave you this.
Because I've been making the payments on it.
Show me. Show me checks, money orders, receipts. Show me.
I paid cash. I just gave it to you.
Then you get a receipt. No, you don't get this. You get a receipt. If it's a loan company, then you get a receipt. Now, Speedy Loan, unsecured. Did you ever have any further contact with her boyfriend?
No, other than that one time I mentioned to you a few months ago, no.
I want to say how absolutely ridiculous you are. This says that you borrowed $2,600. If you make the payments that they tell you to make, if you make the minimum payments, the total you will have paid back is $12,533 at the interest rate of 135.393%, which I actually don't know. Isn't there such a thing as usury in this state?
Yes, ma'am. It was a ridiculous thing to do, but with Maisha, we had worked out between ourselves that if you pay this amount, the only amount of money that Speedy Loan would have received in interest would have been about $107.
Who paid the $140 when the matter went to collections?
I did.
You did?
I've been paying all the $140 payments.
Great, that's what you should continue to do. The case is dismissed.
Something nice for somebody.
I borrowed the money, I've been paying the money back.
He helped her, and then she didn't pay him back.
Threatening, just influencing him a lot.
This is overwhelming right here. This is too much, man.
I won't borrow this kind of money again. It was a big mistake.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stone versus Railing. Step forward.
Scott Stone is suing his ex-roommate, Kristen Railing, for the return of his rent and deposit.
Mr. Stone, you want your rent and your deposit back.
Yes, ma'am.
You moved in with Miss Railing on the 1st of March.
Correct.
And your rent was how much?
$600 per month.
And you gave her a $300 security deposit.
I gave her $1,200 down completely in total.
First month's rent and last month's rent, or was it first
Correct.
month's rent?
Both first month's and then a deposit.
And you gave that to her when you moved in on March 1st?
In 3 separate payments, yes, ma'am.
When were you finished with the payments?
The 28th, I believe, or according to this, the 26th of February, I made the last $900 payment on the $1,200.
And you didn't move in until March 1st?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Railing, I read your answer, and your answer says that Mr. Stone was a problem from the beginning.
Yes.
Did that mean March 1st, March 2nd?
Honestly, I noticed the first incident on the night that I came to pick up his deposit, the rest of the money, and he had asked me to give him a ride to a show that he was going to, and I noticed in that time that he was quite intoxicated.
Okay, and then he moved in.
And he had just broken up with his girlfriend, so I assumed that he was going through a rough patch, and he was drinking, and that was fine. But then about 9 days after he moved in on March 9th, I was trying to sleep, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I had to get up early. I'm a circus acrobat, and I train a lot, and the whole house goes to bed early. And at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I heard mumbling and then skerfuffling and then cursing and then a really loud bang coming from Mr. Stone's room, which is directly connected to my room. And so I knocked on the door.
And what time was this?
About 10:30-ish. I wrote my roommate right after the incident, and it was 10:50, so sometime before then. And I knocked on the door, and Mr. Stone was on the floor, drunk. I asked him if he was fighting with somebody. He was alone. I asked him if he had heard any noises, loud banging or anything, and he looked at me as though there was no noise.
Okay, so he was on the floor. He was drunk and he fell on the floor.
Yes.
And what happened?
And then I told him that, this kind of behavior, he was unhappy living here, and I never evicted him, but it was
you have to give him his money back. Let's be clear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. You should want to give him his money back. How much did you give him back?
So far, I have given him nothing.
Well, you have to give him his money back.
I tried to break down the bills.
Let me explain something to you. When you have a roommate, you can't, unless you have a written lease with them that requires them to be in bed by 10 o'clock and not drink in the apartment. They can swing from the chandeliers if they want to at 10 o'clock at night. That's what happens when you have a roommate. And if you went in and said to him, this kind of behavior can't continue, maybe you're not happy here, and he took that as this kind of behavior can't continue, this is my behavior. This is what I'm going to do now. So you say, listen, this was a mistake for everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye. What your answer suggests is, since he didn't give you notice, he doesn't get any money back. Well, you don't break down the bills. He moved out on what date?
He moved out on March 15th.
He's being very, very nice to you. I would have given him his entire $1,200 back that he gave you. Because responsible people, you should probably, and if you all go to bed at 10 o'clock and get up early in the morning to train, you should probably live alone together or live with somebody whose job is consistent with yours so that they too go to bed at 10 o'clock.
When we spoke beforehand.
If it's not in writing and part of your lease, it doesn't exist. He's only suing you for $900. He's suing for the return of his security deposit and for half a month's rent. He's being very reasonable. Don't be ridiculous. Judge him for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
At some point, the engagement was broken.
I had been forced out of the home by police escort. His son came over, said I had a knife, and his daughter came in waving elder abuse paperwork.
Next Judge Judy.
He completely bailed on us.
Hey, I won, so whatever, right?
He fell down drunk and was cursing and screaming.
There might have been some cursing, There might have been some mumbling, but I don't think I was being out of line. I definitely wasn't drunk.
What friendship?
Everything has lifespan, and some things just need to be let go of, right?
You claim that the horse that they sold you was lame. You want your money back.
Tricked by crooked horse traders?
So you had the horse for almost 3 weeks.
Almost.
I don't know what you did with the horse in that 3 weeks.
I wasn't able to ride that horse.
You posted something on the internet with you riding the horse.
And that was the only time.
I don't believe you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tia Erickson is suing 17-year-old Nikki Parent and her father, Richard, for the return of money she paid for a horse and for vet bills.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Erickson versus Parent.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Erickson, you bought a horse from the defendants and claimed that the horse that they sold you was lame. You want your money back.
Correct.
And in addition, you resorted to a little self-help, and you took the horse, and without their permission, without their knowledge, you trespassed on their property and returned the horse. And they have a counterclaim because you did that. You said, A, you had no right to trespass on their property, had no right to return the horse. In addition, they're suing because now they've taken care of the horse for, I don't know how long, for feed bills and whatever. That's their counterclaim. Now, how many horses do you have?
Well, technically 3.5. I have a miniature as well, but 4.
Where did you get them?
I purchased Maya from one of my friends in 2012.
You purchased?
Maya, and then...
From a friend?
Yep.
Not yep. Yep is not an answer. Yes is
So
an
correct.
answer. In 2012?
Yep, sorry.
Yes is the
Yes.
answer. And how much did you pay for her?
$1,000.
What's the other horse that you have?
I have Hope, which was a rescue, and Mel.
Just a second. Hope was a rescue from where?
My farrier, so the one who trims her feet, he brought her to my attention. She needed help, and she was very overweight, and she had bad feet, so I took her in my care.
When?
That was in, I want to say 2013.
What else do you have?
I have Melvin, and I bought him in 2014. Or I didn't buy him. I went down, and I was originally supposed to pay $100, but she decided to give him to me for free because she knew he'd be in good hands.
Where did you get this horse from that you sold to Miss Erickson?
I actually, when I was younger, I would ride her because I knew the owner, and she brought to my attention in 2014 that her and her husband got a divorce, and she needed someone to take the horse because she wasn't getting the proper care, so I went and rescued her as well.
So you paid nothing for her?
Yep. Yes.
Why did you decide to sell her?
Riding to continue my rodeo career, I wanted another rodeo horse, and Eva was sitting on the back burner for me, so I decided...
She what?
Was sitting on the back burner, so she wasn't getting top attention, which I felt she needed, so that's why I decided to sell her.
Why didn't you just find her a good home?
Because in the rodeo world, you have to lose some to win some, basically.
Just a second. You got the horse for free. What I want to know is, why didn't you, if the horse was on the back burner for you, why didn't you try to find the horse a good home like the other people did when you rescued their horses?
I don't know. I decided to sell her because I did put a lot into feed and vet bills and farrier, which farrier gets expensive with 4 horses.
So you wanted to be paid back for feeding her?
Yep. Yes.
Did you ride her?
Did I ride her? Yes, I did.
Okay. On what date did you purchase the horse?
On July 31st, 2016.
On what date did you trespass on the defendant's property and return the horse?
Your Honor, they were aware that I was coming.
You trespassed on their property. I don't care whether they were on Mars. On what date did you...
I brought the horse back on August 20th, 2016,
And
after
you
a short
say-
ride.
Just a second. And you say you picked up the horse on what date?
On July.
Almost 3 weeks.
Almost. But I wasn't able to ride that horse.
I don't care.
They understood.
I don't care. On what date did you first advise the defendants by email or text message that you can prove to me that you were having difficulty with the horse?
I did it immediately after having...
No. Immediately is not my answer.
Right.
I said, on what date?
I had the veterinarian come out on the 19th of August.
So what you're telling me is that the first communication that you had with them was almost 3 weeks later.
Correct. That's when we had a chance to ride the horse.
You don't get your money back.
Your Honor,
You don't get your money back.
They're aware that...
Don't tell
it
me
was
what
a
they're aware
warranty.
of. You can't testify what's in somebody else's mind.
There was a warranty,
You
express
don't-
warranty we agreed upon.
You don't get your money back. You had the horse for 3 weeks.
Your Honor, what about...
Just a second. You had the horse for 3 weeks. I don't know what you did with the horse in that 3 weeks. I have to rely on you that you bought a horse because you wanted a trail ride and that you did absolutely nothing with the horse for 3 weeks until you had a vet look at it. And I'm not prepared to do that.
We did ride the horse on this. First time was 2 weeks after, because that's when we were able to do that. But they knew that I was
I don't
wanting
care.
for...
I don't know what you did to the horse.
So the statute's saying that...
You don't get your money back. You have to be a buyer that does the right thing in a timely fashion. And 3 weeks later is not a timely fashion. If you have a horse that's in your custody for 3 weeks, and I don't know what you did with it, but I read something in an answer that says that you posted something on the internet with you riding the horse.
That was the only time.
I don't believe you. Is
Well,
that your tape?
my witness is the
Is
one
that
who
your
rode
tape?
it, rode
No
the
way.
horse.
Not happening. Can I see it?
Yes.
That's returning the horse. She wants to see a picture of
I wanted to see the
riding.
internet picture of her riding the horse.
And I did not ride the horse, ever, Your Honor.
That's that one going there on the horse.
Can I see them, please?
So they sold it as a trail horse. Even their advertisements state it's amazing on trails.
Listen to me. Did you tell me that you never rode the horse?
Personally, no, I have never rode that horse. My witness did.
Well, this is you. I don't know if you're on the horse.
I went riding with them on my own horse. That's me on my own horse.
This is them.
The picture of Tia and Eva is behind because she purchased it for her boyfriend to ride.
To ride on trails.
So he rode the horse?
Yes.
So this is her, and he rode the horse?
Yes.
And do we have a date on this picture?
There wasn't a date.
That was August 14th, 2016. That's the first time and the only time that my witness rode the horse.
I don't believe you, Ms. Erickson. You don't get your money back. Now, you don't get anything on your counterclaim either, because what you're probably going to do is you're going to resell the horse. That's what you're probably going to do.
Right.
I mean, you got it for nothing. But they can't just decide that they don't want it anymore after, in all probability, something that happened to the horse in their care.
Your Honor, the veterinarian bill states, our explanation and exam states it's a pre-existing condition that was before I bought the horse.
You're not getting your money back.
So they can ride.
You're not getting your money back.
They can sell a rideable horse using false advertisements. And
Case is dismissed. We're done.
Why is our excuse? You must step out.
it seems to me that Mr. Parent is teaching his daughter how to lie, cheat, and steal people's money.
Well, Miss Erickson slandering my teaching of my daughter is kind of ridiculous because
By advertising that it was amazing on trails, rides double.
her own vet report told her the hooves were bad, needed to be done.
The vet report showed that this horse had,
And they weren't done. We had to do them as soon as they returned her.
which was very chronic and very grade 4 lame, they said.
The feet on the horse are the most important part of the horse.
We wanted to go riding together, which has been destroyed now because
We rescued her once and we're rescuing her again.
of the poor lame horse. I feel bad for where it's ending up being.
Because then I can know who's taking care of her and I trust myself.
But I have no say.
I'm happy she's back.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bartolomeo versus Wooten step forward.
Linda Bartolomeo is suing her former tenant, Nathaniel Wooten, for unpaid rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
Ms. Bartolomeo, you had a rental property that you rented to the defendant's then-girlfriend.
Yes.
He moved in with the girlfriend, then the girlfriend moved out, he stayed on.
Correct.
You were never a signatory to the girlfriend's lease, correct?
No, ma'am.
Did you have your own lease?
No, not that time. I did not.
Did you ever have your own lease?
Once she moved out and I signed a new lease, I did.
Okay. Do you have a copy of that lease?
I have it on my phone, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
Yes, I do, and the amendment.
I'd like to take a look at it.
That's the amendment. This is the original lease.
Amendment.
This was done by mail because this is the same signature on both.
It was done through email, ma'am.
Through email.
Through a Rocket Lawyer.
Okay, so your rent was $112.50 a week.
That was in the first lease. The amendment changed it to $225 every 2 weeks on the 8th and 22nd of every month.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's incorrect.
And when did you move out?
I moved out on October 4th.
Between July 2nd of 2016, Mr. Wooten, and October 4th, did you pay your rent every 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. I paid my rent for the first 2 weeks of August.
No, we're talking about July 2nd. I want you to pay careful attention to my
yes.
words.
Yes, ma'am.
I said as of July 2nd, 2016, up through October 4th, did you pay your rent every 2 weeks?
No, ma'am.
What weeks didn't you pay?
I didn't pay the 3rd and 4th week of August or September.
So do you owe 4 weeks or 8 weeks?
I owe 0 weeks. The reason why I didn't pay her is because she violated the lease, and we were supposed to go to court, and I had the money in an escrow account, and she never took me to court, and then we showed up on here.
Okay.
Judge
Want it at the house. Why?
She told me I could.
That's not true.
Just a second. Why did you do it? I'm asking you.
I did it because I was tired of paying for weed.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Linda Bartolomeo says former tenant Nathaniel Wooten violated his lease. She is suing for rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
Now, did you pay rent? No. Did you live there? Yes. Then you owe rent. My only question is, when you say 2 weeks and 2 weeks, does that mean that you didn't pay 4 weeks or you didn't pay 8 weeks?
I didn't pay 6 weeks, Your Honor.
In the middle? Oh, okay.
Yes.
What difference does it make? You say 7 weeks, he says 6 weeks.
Well,
Let's say 6 weeks. That's $675. That's 6 weeks. Okay. Now, I assume that you signed this lease amendment, and the lease amendment makes certain minor changes in the original lease. It says, as of July 2nd, neither party was in default of the lease. So that's why I started with July 2nd. So
Correct.
According to both of you, you were each in compliance with the terms of the lease. And for potential buyers. So he was.
Correct.
And he will complete the inside trim of the house. Painting will be completed by August 1st. Was that done?
No.
Did you do that?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I have a text from Linda saying that the only amendments that she made on the lease was about changing it from weekly to bi-weekly.
No, it's right here.
I didn't read it. I did not read it because I had the text saying that the only thing that she changed on the lease was how much I was paying instead of weekly to bi-weekly. So I said, okay, I'll sign it and send it back to you. I didn't know
that's your problem. Because if what you signed you didn't read, that's your problem. How old are you?
30.
That's your problem. Okay, the following items will be provided by the landlord. That was in the amendment. Stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave, washer, dryer, toaster oven, cappuccino maker.
Yes, Your Honor.
I received everything back. Everything, that's correct.
And did you provide that?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you want to tell me why you didn't pay rent?
I didn't pay rent because she was selling the house at the time.
And?
And she was sending people into my house without my approval.
You knew that she was selling the house, sir?
Yes.
You knew she was selling the house. That's why part of this amendment is there, is that you keep the house in good condition for potential buyers.
Yes. The other reason why.
So far you owe $675. You have the house. Why?
She told me I could.
That's not true.
Just a second. In order for her to tell you you could, your landlord just came up to you one day and said to you, I think you should grow marijuana in the house.
No, she showed me where to grow it. It wasn't in the house. It was outside.
Just a second. That's not what I said to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When they moved out, she left the grow lights, the grow plants, the power strips. I have pictures of it. And we smoked together when I was signing the lease in the first place. So I understand it was okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Linda Bartolomeo says former tenant Nathaniel Wooten violated his lease. She is suing for rent, late fees, damages, and the return of property.
I said, you mean one day the landlord came up and said, I think you should grow marijuana in the house.
Correct.
This is where I think you should grow it?
Correct.
Is that what happened?
Yes, and she left, when they moved out, she left the grow lights, the grow plants, the powered strips. I have pictures of it. And the buckets and everything else. But I didn't grow it in the house. It was outside the house on the back.
Why did you do it? I'm asking you.
I did it because I was tired of paying for weed.
Because this lady told you to grow it. You
Sure.
were tired of paying for it.
Well, we smoked together when I was signing the lease in the first place. So I understand it was okay. Like, I have texts from her telling me to
May I
hide
see
the
the pictures of
paraphernalia.
what you're complaining about in the house, please? So far, he owes you $675 for rent.
Can I have my witness come and help me? I lost my glasses and I can't see. I'm looking for the pictures of the doors.
How long did you live there, Mr. Wooten?
From the first time I moved in?
From the first, how long did you live in the house?
We moved in March 15th is when we first moved in.
What year?
2016.
Is that when you moved in with your girlfriend?
Yes. They gave us the house in January, but we didn't. There was so much cleanup that we had to do.
2016.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't live there long.
No.
Where are you living now?
I'm currently living at my mom's house.
At your mom. What do you do to support yourself?
I work at a 5-star restaurant as a cook.
Continuously?
Yes, I work there 6 days a week. My new house isn't going to be ready till next month. That's the reason why I moved in with my mom for this month. And the reason why I stopped paying rent was because I paid my rent in August, and the same day she had the realtor hand me a 14-day eviction notice that wasn't signed, wasn't given a reason why I was getting a 14-day eviction notice. It was just this law of a 14-day eviction notice given to me by the realtor, not even the property manager. The realtor printed it out, handed it to the property manager. I was like, and it states in my lease I have a 30-day notice because the amendment said everything that was signed, therefore, in the first lease was still active.
So you did read the amendment?
After I found out that she changed it.
So you did read the amendment?
Because she sent me a text saying I violated the amendments. I was like, what amendments did I violate? And then she sent me a text saying, I was like, I didn't see those, and that's when I went and looked at it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, may I see the pictures, please?
I'm
Come on.
sorry.
Got
Here's
things to do.
here's the one door, and then I have to take the phone back to show you the other two doors because it's on a different thing.
Did you damage any of the doors?
No, ma'am. The house was left
What are
better
these?
than when I got it in the first condition.
I'm looking at a dog, and I see scratch marks on the bottom of a door.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
So,
but there's two other ones on there, but it's in a mess.
She had 4 dogs, Your Honor, when I moved in. That's why I had to rip up all the carpet, and the scratches were already there.
I don't care. What property do you claim he took without permission?
A bed and 2 TVs that were left by the previous tenant.
I get it. What's next?
I have the receipt.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Forget it.
I need 3 doors replaced in the bedroom.
Because of the scratches on the doors?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find the other picture to show
I'm
you.
not replacing the 3 doors because of the scratches on the bottom of the doors.
Well, they're hollow doors and they cannot be fixed.
I'm not replacing them. Neither is he. He owes you $675 for the rent he didn't pay.
Your Honor.
Where is it?
Don't speak. Doesn't sound like you're losing, except the rent that you have to pay because your behind was in the house for those 6 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
They're on this, but I can't find it.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $675. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Seems that you and Miss Sampe were engaged. You bought her a ring.
At first, she was eager.
It came by special delivery, so I actually didn't give it to her. She opened it and had it on when I got home.
Then she was gone.
At some point, the engagement was broken.
He filed eviction notice. I had been forced out of the home by police escort. His son came over, said I had a knife, and his daughter came in waving elder abuse paperwork.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
63 fiancée, 42-year-old Lucille Sampe, for the return of an engagement ring.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 269 on the calendar in the matter of Hawthorne versus Sampe.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Hawthorne, I've read your complaint, which is a relatively simple one, and the defendant's answer and her counterclaim. It seems that you and Miss Sampe were engaged. You bought her a ring, and that's the ring.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please. When did you give her the ring?
We purchased it in November of 14, and it came by special delivery. So I actually didn't give it to her. She opened it and had it on when I got home.
Was she living with you?
Yes, she was living with me,
She
yes.
was living with you at the time. Okay. So clearly, this is an engagement ring and a wedding band.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And clearly, these were given to you in contemplation that there would be a marriage.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
So now it's up to you to convince me why he doesn't get them back.
Well, we did get engaged. We began living together in about 2011, and this was all in contemplation of getting married. He was pretty sick when I first met him.
Listen, I need the Reader's Digest version of this. When
2012.
And you were living together?
Correct.
How long did you live together after 2012?
Up until about April 2015.
And you were engaged all that time. Did you wear both these rings or just one?
Both.
Both. So you wore the engagement ring and the wedding band?
Yes, he wanted me to wear both. Yes, ma'am.
He wanted you to?
Yes.
And you did?
Correct.
Okay. Now, at some point, the engagement was broken?
Correct.
And you gave him back the rings?
Yes.
When was that?
April 2015.
How did they come into your possession again?
After we had broken up, this was all due to his...
Don't tell me what it was due to. I don't care. Another show?
Okay.
Not me.
We had broken up, and he filed eviction notice.
To get you out?
Yes.
Okay, so you were evicted from the premises?
Yes.
Because you didn't want to leave voluntarily?
I wanted 30 days to get some things together because, you know, this all happened at like 3 o'clock in the morning, April 30th.
So there
3
was a
o'clock in the morning.
some sort of a kerfuffle?
Correct.
And you wanted 30 days. Well, that wouldn't have been unreasonable, Mr. Hawthorne, since she had lived with you for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. But he evicted you and you gave him back the ring.
Correct.
And how did they get back into your possession?
So he had the jewelry the entire 30 days while I was there trying to... When we moved in together, I gave everything away.
That's your counterclaim.
Okay.
Let us move on. I'm dealing with this now.
After he had gotten the jewelry and I had moved out, it had been, I don't know, 3 to 6 months that I had moved away, gone, no communication. The plaintiff continued to call me and text me and wanted to go out on a date or dinner. He wanted to make up for the things that happened because I had been forced out of the home the night before I had to move by police escort. His son came over, said I had a knife, and his daughter came in waving elder abuse paperwork.
So?
So.
How did you get the ring back?
We went out to dinner. He gave me a check for $50 as a gift, and then he presented the ring to me as a gift to make up for everything that I had gone through.
Well, not to make up for. What did he say to you when he gave you the ring back?
I'm sorry, you know, I let my family get involved. I'm sorry I didn't help you move and get reestablished. And here is a check, and then this is a ring, and you know, I wanted you to have this.
And what did you do with it?
I took it, and I kept it, and I said thank you.
I'm not being convinced that he doesn't get the ring back.
Well, I did not agree to marry him before we went out on a date. He was,
right,
well,
now you're
I
out
did
at
tell
dinner.
him that
now you're out at dinner.
Yes.
Now, after that dinner, did you see after that?
No.
No. After, could you stand up on your own?
Yes.
Is there something wrong with you? After you got the ring back at dinner, did you go out with him again?
I'm trying to recall, this is a year ago, over a year.
Did you go out with her again?
Judge, Your Honor, we went out many times.
Not many times.
Many
2 or 3
times.
Okay. And did something happen after this reconciliation of sorts, after that broke you up finally?
We weren't really dating when he gave me that ring back.
That's not what I asked you. What I said, was there another incident that happened after the dinner, after you saw him, you say a couple, he says many, was there another incident that happened between the two of you?
No, not to my recollection.
Was there another incident?
No, ma'am.
Nothing. Did you stop calling her?
Yes. She blocked me.
That's not true.
I could not call her unless she wanted to talk to me. Whenever she wanted to talk. Other than that, I was blocked.
Okay. And what month was that?
June through, I would say, Thanksgiving and right before Christmas, we communicated.
Of 2015?
2015, yes, ma'am.
Well, now it's well into 2016.
Right.
When did you file this case against her for the return of the rings?
Well, I tried to give her time. I told her that I could wait a little while if she wanted to wait. And she said, yes, I would like to wait a little while before we do. So,
before you do what?
Before we get back together and marry. I wanted her to have that ring in marriage. She knows that.
Well, it's a wedding band and an engagement ring.
Right. I told her she could have that smaller ring, that engagement ring. Never the wedding ring.
So you told her...
She came to my house.
Just a second. So you told her that she could have this ring, but not the wedding band.
No. Just the opposite. That's the wedding ring in your right hand.
Well, that's the most important. Listen, this is the more expensive one.
Right. That's not the one I told her she could have.
You told her she could have this one?
Yes, ma'am. She came to my house and got it.
That is not true.
When?
She came to my house one night after her work in her car and parked in my driveway to get a registration that I had that belonged to her car. And I told her, you take this. I want you to have it.
Just a second. So is what you're telling me that you didn't give her the rings over dinner?
The smaller rings, Your Honor, I gave to her at my house in the driveway.
Over dinner?
The larger ring, we were out to a place in St. Louis, and we talked, and I told her again that I wanted her to have the ring. I asked her, was she ready to marry yet? And she says, I want to, the way you living, and we can go ahead on and get married. And I let her have the ring.
I don't believe you, Mr. Hawthorne.
Well,
I think you gave her the rings without a promise. The first time, I think that you asked her to marry you. The second time, I think you gave her the rings.
No,
and there
ma'am.
was no contemplation of marriage at
No,
that
ma'am.
point.
May I speak?
No, ma'am.
Oh, just a second.
Okay.
Does it sound as if you're losing? Why would you want to speak if it doesn't sound
no,
as if
Judge
you're losing?
Scheindlin. No, Judge Scheindlin.
So, a wedding ring is given in contemplation of marriage. That's the way it was given to her the first time.
Yes.
And you would have gotten the ring back. The second time, after you broke up and after she was out of the house for 6 months, and after you had a dinner, and you changed the story a couple of times, you gave her the little one but not the big one. Well, why would you give her the wedding band instead of letting her keep the engagement ring? You weren't married to each other. You just wanted to give her a token. Do you remember giving her a check for $50?
Yes.
What was the check for, Mr. Hawthorne?
Just a gift. We went to dinner in Fairview Heights, and I gave that to her in a box of candy.
How much did you pay for this?
$43.77.
And who did you buy it from?
Macy's.
Okay, now I'm going to get to your counterclaim. This is what, if I understand your counterclaim. When you moved in with Mr. Hawthorne, you had a house full of furniture, and he said, move in with me, get rid of your furniture.
Correct.
In what year?
Late 2011.
So, according to you, what he first moved out, but later on, he said, here's $50, and I'll give you another $1,750 so you can buy new furniture. Forget it. Not interested. But the rings are yours. You don't like them? Sell them. That'll take care of your furniture. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
Perfect. Give her back the rings.
Sure.
Very good. This case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
A lot of things took place. A lot of lies were told.
It was all his doing. Once he gave the ring back to me as a gift,
You don't go buy a ring with a retail value of $8,000 and give it to somebody.
I guess things didn't go the way he wanted them to go, and he just wanted to harass me.
But I'm going to move on.
I love Judge Judy, and I'm very grateful for the outcome.
Love and money don't mix.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Barajas versus Forsyth. Step forward.
18-year-old Michaela Barajas is suing her boyfriend's mother, Marini Forsyth, for an unpaid loan to pay her rent.
Ms. Barajas, what school do you go to?
I'm currently not enrolled.
What school were you going to?
The Arts Institute.
What is that?
It's a school for arts, like I was doing film production.
From when to when?
June 2015 to about July. Only like
for a month.
A month, yeah.
Did you apply for government loans and things?
A lot of that.
Where did you get the money from to loan the defendant money for rent?
From the tribe.
I don't understand that. Explain that to me.
So I have residual checks that come in once or twice every 4 months.
For how much?
$2,800.
That you get every month as part of what?
Just for being a part of the tribe.
So how much do you get annually?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. It started when I was 18. I just turned 18 in March.
When did you get your last check?
June.
For $2,800?
No.
How much?
$50,000.
$50,000.
That one is only to be touched when you're 18.
Did you blow it already? You went through the whole $50,000?
Yeah, I bought a car and been paying rent.
What kind of a car did you buy?
Fiat.
How much did you pay for it?
$1,600. $16,000, sorry.
What'd you do with the rest of the money?
I don't know. Spend it.
Are you living with him now?
Yes.
And this is his mother?
Yes, Your Honor.
Plaintiff moved into your house. You were behind in your rent.
Yes.
She gave you money. How much did she give you?
$3,000.
When did she give you the $3,000?
July 6th.
When did you move out of the house?
September 24th.
Who did you move out with?
By myself.
Who did you leave home?
My son, Tyler, my other son, and my daughter, and my ex-husband, who I asked to move back in to help take care of the rent.
How much do you contribute?
It just started a month ago, I would say, so I paid the full month of $1,300 in utilities, an extra like $500, but next month he's supposed to take over the full $1,300 and I'm just utilities.
Don't count on it. What does the boyfriend do? What does the boyfriend do?
He currently just got hired at Best Buy.
So he did nothing? Nice. So far, you're not making great choices.
Right.
Don't have any children just yet.
No.
It's my best advice to you. This is not a mess you want to be involved with.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was riding, there were parked cars, there was traffic as well. Lost control of my bike, and I woke up to a passerby holding my head to the ground, saying that I was bleeding profusely and that the ambulance was on its way.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michaela Barajas says her boyfriend's mother, Marilyn Forsyth, owes for a loan to pay rent.
Okay, now, tell me about the $3,000.
She had been stressed and talking about being about to be evicted. They were getting constant notices of 3 days. So felt bad. I told her, I will loan it to you. I have the money and I'm okay to take care of myself for right now. It's not a problem. Just pay me back whenever you can.
Okay, and she said okay.
Yes.
Can you pay her back?
No.
She can't pay you back. That's not a contract. Pay me back whenever you can.
Well, I mean, she's given me like a couple bucks here and there. I have it documented.
Oh, well, that's good. That's fine. Then she's doing what she said she would do.
Right.
But you don't have an enforceable contract.
No.
If a contract with you is open-ended, I'll pay you back when there is a next full eclipse of the moon. And there is never a full eclipse of the moon again. That means you never get paid.
Right.
You left it up to her in your open-ended contract by saying, I have the money right now. Pay me back when you're able.
Right.
That's not a contract. I wish it were a contract, actually. I think it's absolutely wrong to take advantage of somebody like you who is inexperienced with finances, who is 18 years old and inexperienced and gets this whole lump sum of money and didn't blow the whole thing on a car.
Right.
But now you bought yourself a whole bunch of aberration. You have her ex-husband, the boyfriend who doesn't work, her other 2 children. Do they work?
No.
No. I really wish I could help you. But this is still a court because from an emotional perspective, you have a contract with her. You can have a verbal contract,
right.
But your contract with her wasn't a verbal contract because it said you pay me back when you can. Now, if she won the lottery and she had $10 million, I say, you know what? You say you can't, I say you can. She doesn't think she can pay you back the $3,000 now.
She also lived in my house for 2 months rent-free, too, so.
How much was your rent?
$1,300.
Well, but she gave you $3,000.
Yeah.
So, and you were how many people? You, the ex-husband, and your 3 children, right?
Well, yeah.
So 1/6 of $1,300 doesn't amount to $3,000.
Correct.
Right, good. I'm sorry. I wish I could help her because I think that you're not a nice lady. This case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I loaned her the money. She said she was going to pay me back, and she didn't.
She stayed in my house for 2 months and didn't pay any rents, and
I believe I paid out my rent.
so I feel like I don't owe her anything.
I feel like I was just trying to help, and it went out of control.
She threw me out in the middle of the night.
And we took over her bedroom because we were paying for it.
And I end up looking like the bad guy because she offered to help me.
We deserved it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Turner versus Smith. Step forward.
Renee Turner is suing bicyclist Brandon Smith for crashing into her parked car.
Ms. Turner, it is your claim that the defendant damaged your car with his bicycle.
Yes.
The car was parked at the time, and I assume you have a police report.
I do.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Was yours the only vehicle that was hit?
To my knowledge, yes, but in the accident report, supposedly there was another vehicle in front of mine, and that was what he had run into.
It says here you had been drinking alcohol prior to riding your bike. Is that correct, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Renee Turner says she was at work when bicyclist Brandon Smith crashed into her parked car.
When did this accident take place?
March 1st?
Of this year?
Of this year.
You were riding your bicycle where, sir?
I was riding it south in Solana Beach on 2nd Street.
What time?
Can't remember off the top of my head, roughly in the afternoon.
Where had you been?
I had been at Pizza Port getting lunch.
What happened?
I was riding, there were parked cars, there was traffic as well. I reached back to grab a drink of water. My bottle is located under my seat. While I was doing that, a car passed dangerously close, lost control of my bike, and I woke up to a passerby holding my head to the ground, saying that I was bleeding profusely and that the ambulance was on its way.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the police report.
Absolutely. Go.
So you're in your place of business, etc.,
Yes.
You heard commotion. You came out sometime later. What time did you come out?
I didn't come out until after I was finished with work at about 9:30 or 10 that night.
Tell me what you found on your car.
I found this note from the sheriff's department. Absolutely.
Okay, so the police officer gave you an event number. It indicates your vehicle was hit by a bicyclist. There was an accident report taken. They gave you a case number, North Coastal Station, which is the police station, the badge number of the police officer, and as a result of this, you took a look at the car.
Right.
Could I see photographs of the car?
Yes, you may.
Basically a very long, deep scratch.
Yes.
And some denting.
Mm-hmm.
Was yours the only vehicle that was hit?
To my knowledge, yes, but in the accident report, supposedly there was another vehicle in front of mine, and that was what he had run into after mine.
It says here you had been drinking alcohol prior to riding your bike. Is that correct, sir?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
Drinking alcohol prior to riding your bike. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
Okay. Can I see an estimate for the damage to your car?
Yes. I have 2 estimates. Would you like both?
Yes. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She came to me, told me I had directly done damage to her car.
Oh, he said he was totally compliant.
I apologized and wanted to see what was going on.
He wanted to fix the situation until I sent the assessment of how much it was going to be to fix it.
And then I got an estimate for $3,000, and something was fishy, so I stopped responding to her.
Then he just didn't respond.
And I tried to call her bluff and see if she would actually go with her insurance.
I'm just glad that I'm finally going to be getting my car fixed.
As she should have, but that didn't exactly pay off.
Don't park your car on the street.
Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Boat repairman Roger Fountain is suing his former client, Jody McCluskey, for unpaid boat repairs.
All rise.
Now it's case number 287 on the calendar in the matter of Fountain versus McCluskey.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Fountain, you want money that you claim is owed to you for fixing the defendant's boat.
Yes, Your
That's
Honor.
what your case is about. Mr. McCluskey, you have a whole different story. So I'm going to start with you. What kind of boat did you buy, and when did you buy it, and from whom?
I purchased the 97 Sea-Doo Challenger.
1997, so a 20-year-old Sea-Doo.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you purchase it?
In April of 2015.
Who did you purchase it from?
A gentleman named Ferguson.
How did you find Mr. Ferguson?
He happens to be one of my customers.
Customers in what business?
Landscape.
Had you seen the Sea-Doo?
Yes,
When you were doing landscaping?
I did.
Is that how you found it?
That's correct.
Did you see it for the first time in April?
Yes, ma'am.
And it had a for sale sign.
It did.
You paid him how much?
$8,000.
And I assume that you're a businessman and that you did your due diligence and that $8,000 was an appropriate price for a 20-year-old Sea-Doo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it a good price? Stop playing with your papers.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it a good price?
Yes, it was.
How good?
It was great, being that we had a lot of accessories, you know, all the extras.
When you looked up its value, and I'm sure you looked it up, what did it say its value was?
Well, the value on the boat is approximately $7,000.
So why did you pay him $8,000?
Because of the different accessories on it.
Now, before you purchased it in April, did you have him put it in the water?
No.
Did you have a mechanic look at it?
No. We did start it, though.
So you neither test drove it in the water nor had a mechanic look at it?
No.
Now, you bought it in April from Ferguson?
Yes.
And you do his landscaping?
I do.
Do you still do his landscaping?
Yes, I do.
When did you first put the boat in the water?
I didn't.
Ever?
No. No, ma'am.
Why?
Well, because I couldn't get it started.
So you tried to put it in the water?
No, I tried to start it prior to putting it in the water.
After you already purchased it?
Yes, ma'am.
What month did you try to start it?
I tried to start it right after, probably in Actually, in May.
So you brought it home in a trailer, some
Yes,
sort
it has
of trailer.
a boat trailer.
And then you tried to start it and you couldn't.
That's right.
Did you call Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Yes. And did you tell Mr. Ferguson you couldn't start it?
Yes.
Did you ask him for your money back?
No.
Then why did you call him?
Well, because I wanted to see what might be the problem. He did indicate that it did have a leaky...
Before you bought it?
Yes.
And that didn't give you any cause to pause before you bought it?
Not at all.
A leaky crankcase.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you do to fix a leaky crankcase?
Yes.
What do you do?
In most cases on this design, you have to rebuild the engine.
So let me understand this, Mr. McCluskey. You paid $8,000 for a Sea-Doo that was worth $7,000 because of its accessories that you couldn't start because you had to rebuild the motor because it had a leaky crankcase that you had already been advised of before you bought it.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I actually could not get it started. Ferguson came over to my house. We tried to crank it over, and it has 2 engines, by the way. The number 1 engine wasn't starting. Number 2 is fine. So typically in this case, the engine had a bypass on it, which meant that there was a separate mechanic other than Mr. Fountain over here that actually put a bypass so it would stop the oil from leaking from the crankcase, which in turn you have to take the spark plug out, then put a rag over it.
Just a second. Mm-hmm. Don't explain the whole thing to me. You tried with Mr. Ferguson there and another mechanic.
No, Mr. Ferguson, the owner, the previous owner.
Mr. Ferguson came to try to doctor up because he probably likes the way you look, machine that you paid a lot of money for and that was useless to you, and it didn't work.
That's correct.
So, what did you do next? Did you ever ask Mr. Ferguson for your money back?
No.
I'm just curious. Is that because he's a customer of yours and you've been working for them and over the course of years, you're going to get your money back from Mr. Ferguson?
Of course.
Landscaping, whatever, one way or another, you're going to maintain his business.
Yes.
See how the story is piecing itself together?
Uh-huh.
So then, what did you do? You still couldn't operate the Sea-Doo for its intended purpose. Where does Mr. Fountain come in?
Well, I happened to notice a new boat shop that opened down the street. And so I contacted Mr. Fountain to come out and take a look at the boat, see if he could fix it.
And?
And he was nice enough to come out and pick up the boat, and that's where the story begins.
Because you see, Mr. McCluskey, what I have to do is figure out who is trying to scam who. So I'm going to ask you, sir, whether this is your signature on this answer that you swore to.
Yes.
I would like you to read the first line after it says, Jody McCluskey being duly sued of any money. Read that line.
I do not owe the plaintiff, Roger Fountain, any money.
Read next line.
All right, I was a new boat owner at the time. I called Roger, and I was only looking for an oil change. That is
Period.
All.
I was a new boat owner at the time, and I was only looking for an oil change. That is all that was needed to fix my boat, and I made that clear to Roger before he picked it up. Well, that's not true, Mr. McCluskey. Can I have that back, please? That's clearly not true. You couldn't get the Sea-Doo started. The owner of it came over. He tried a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you still couldn't get it started, so you couldn't use it. So your boat just didn't need an oil change. Your boat needed to be fixed.
The oil
now,
needed.
just a second. Hey, one way or another, this is going to be a very simple case for me because one or the other of you is not telling me the truth. And I read both of these things, and right now, you lied in your first line that you said to me, all my boat needed was an oil change, which is exactly why I came to you first, sir. Usually I start with the plaintiff. Now, my next question to you is, after all the kerfuffle, which we will find out what happened with the boat, and your kerfuffle, this was in 2015. How many times did you use the Sea-Doo last summer?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
On the Sea-Doo, and the summer, I want the name and telephone number of the person who worked on the Sea-Doo.
Okay.
What's the name and number of the person who did repairs on the Sea-Doo?
It's my friend, Daryl.
Why didn't you call your friend first? Mr. McCluskey, if you have a friend who can fix a Sea-Doo, Why didn't you call him first? You see where I'm going? You know exactly where I'm going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mr. Fountain fixed your boat.
No, he didn't.
And you didn't pay. Oh, really?
No, he didn't.
Show me a bill from somebody else who fixed a paid bill from you. Mr. McCluskey, a paid bill from you that's in your stack of somebody between the time Mr. Fountain worked on your boat and you put it in the water.
I can't.
This summer. You can't.
No.
You need some more time?
No.
You need some more time? Okay, because you don't have it. Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
One way or another, the police became involved because you said, I'm not giving him his boat until he pays me. And he said, I'm not paying you. All I authorized was an oil change. Baloney.
And later today.
How did you damage the car?
I was putting gas into it, and she's blaming me for damages, and I did not wreck the car at all.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boat repairman Roger Fountain says former client Jody McCluskey owes for boat repairs. Jody is countersuing for tow charges and the cost of a boat cover.
Okay, so you owe Mr. Fountain the money that he says you owe him for fixing your boat, which is not a lot of money, actually.
No.
Which is not a lot, $800?
Yes,
right? I
yes,
mean, it's a
Your
lot of money, but it's 1/10 of the value that you paid for the boat, and you couldn't use it. And you were going to make up your money from the guy who sold you this boat that didn't start by jacking up his price to do landscaping. You said, I'm not going to ask for his money back because he pays me more than $8,000 a year to do his landscaping, so I'm not going to cut off my nose and lose a customer. How much was the bill to fix his boat?
Your Honor, it was $879.40.
Now, what I gather happened, Mr. Fountain, is you made arrangements for him to come and pick up the boat. The boat was fixed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Came to pick it up, and there was a kerfuffle because as he was following you, according to him, the boat cover was over. He said, my boat cover is ripped. One way or another, the police became involved because you said, I'm not giving him his boat until he pays me.
Correct.
And he said, I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you. I didn't authorize this. All I authorized was an oil change. Baloney.
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's absolute baloney. You bought a non-functioning Sea-Doo to him.
I knew exactly what was wrong.
I
knew exactly what was wrong with the boat.
Because somebody snookered you, and then you tell me that you have a friend who fixed it, but no bill from your friend who fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You owe him $879.40, and your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Excuse me, step out.
He is a con artist.
Jody McCluskey tried ripping me off, and he got what he deserved.
We even have paperwork showing that the man has had deceptive practices.
That's not correct.
Do your homework. Make sure it's a reputable company.
Don't let people take advantage of me, and, the customer is not always right.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of McDonald versus McDonald. Step forward.
25-year-old Chelsea McDonald is suing her sister, 22-year-old Jordan McDonald, for an unpaid loan.
Miss McDonald, this is your sister, and it is your claim she owes you some money. Money that she put on a credit. As soon as she got a job, she hasn't paid you back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
I was working full-time at Citibank, and I was actually laid off.
When?
I was laid off in June.
June of this year?
Of 2016. I enrolled back into school, and I am working part-time for a cleaning company now.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
And how old are you?
I'm 25.
And how do you support yourself?
I did not owe the plaintiff anything.
Judge, I didn't ask you that question. I want you to use your listening ears. How do you support yourself?
My name's Jordan. I work for...
What?
I work for Tri-Health. I am currently living with my mom right now.
That's not what Miss McDonald, I got that your sister is 25 years old. She lost her job with Citibank in June. What she does to support herself is she works for a cleaning company part-time. Am I correct?
Yes.
I asked you how you supported yourself.
I work part-time with Tri-Health.
Part-time with Tri-Health. What do you do for them?
I register patients in the ER.
How many hours a week do you work?
It varies. I work probably about 25 hours a week. I get paid bi-weekly, so about 50 hours pay period.
Does your mother work?
Yes, she works full-time.
And how old is she?
She is 54.
And how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, so and we have their mother, who's 54, who works full-time. Sounds right. Sounds like the direction of the country.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car?
I no longer drive, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance and decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work.
Ma'am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Chelsea McDonald says her sister, Jordan McDonald, owes for a loan to fight her DUI.
Now, when did you get a DUI?
Back in February 2016. It was February 21st, the day before my birthday.
And your sister gave you a credit card in order to put some, you had to pay legal fees?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And when she gave you the credit card, did it have a zero balance? Well, just, she has the records. So when you had this conversation with her about your need to hire a lawyer and to get this case going, and she gave you the credit card, did she tell you it had a zero balance?
That's what she told me, yes.
And you took it?
As
the credit
a gift.
card?
As a gift.
Just a second. Just answer my questions. You took it, correct?
Yep, I sure did.
So I assume...
I did.
Well, if someone is making you a gift, why would that be an important thing for her to tell you that it had a zero balance? If she was making you a gift of this credit card, what difference does it make if it had a zero balance or if she already had $10,000 on it? Can you think of a reason she might say, now it has a zero balance, so whatever you put on the card is going to be your responsibility when you get a job?
Well, as my sister, I assumed I could trust her.
You assume you could trust her?
I assume
That's what
so.
she assumed. She assumed she could trust you. And at the time, your sister and your mother were living with you.
Yes.
Then you had an argument. And the argument was about a car that your sister had borrowed that belonged to you?
Yes.
That she damaged.
Correct.
When was that?
This was late July of 2016.
How did you damage the car?
I was putting gas into it, and I drove it back to the house, and next thing I know it, she's blaming me for damages, and I did not wreck the car at all.
You were putting gas in it for whom?
Because I borrowed the car from her.
Where did you take it?
I believe I went to Kroger's to cash my check.
And?
Stopped at the gas station to put gas back into the car, and I went straight home.
What happened with the car? She wouldn't know the truth if it came up and slapped her in the face.
I let her borrow the car to make some money from her house to put gas in for what she used. She was watching my backup camera that I have on my dashboard, and she wasn't watching the front end of the car, and she hit either a rail or a pole by the gas station that protects the gas pumps.
And there was a scratch on the car or something?
It was dented, the whole side of it, the fender.
And when she came home from putting gas in the car, what did she say to you?
She didn't say anything. At first, she walked in with a paint kit that she purchased from Walmart to try to patch up.
Oh, so she went to try to fix the car?
Yes.
And try to match the paint?
Correct.
At Walmart?
Yes.
You remember that?
I do not.
Too much booze.
A little bit too much.
When she walked in, I asked her what this was. I texted her first and said, "Where are you? You've been gone for a while." She says, "I have a surprise for you." That was my surprise. It was my car.
So then you had a fight, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why how much did she use on your credit card?
She used a total of $2,105.49 is what I'm currently suing her.
May I see it, please?
Everything has been highlighted.
Joel is the lawyer that you used?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there's surge on the account to help her get by when she was in between jobs.
What's PNC Bank?
There, ma'am, I had to take a cash advance to pay off a title loan that she took against her car. I had to pay it in cash or a cashier's check.
A title loan she took against her car?
Yes, at that time she did have a car. She was having some issues before her DUI, so she took a loan to help herself out. You know, she didn't tell myself.
Do you remember taking out a car loan against your car?
Yes.
Who paid for it?
She did, as a gift.
Grow up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, paid a lot of money to Mr. Was he successful in dealing with your DUI?
Yes, I no longer have a DUI on my record.
Did you plead guilty to the DUI?
No.
So it was a good thing that your sister gave you this card and you had Mr. It was a good thing, right? Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car that you had that she paid off the title loan on?
I no longer drive. I was on suspension during that time, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance, and I no longer decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work.
Ma'am. She got caught driving under suspension. I wanted the car. I was going to help her get it out, and I decided not to.
You don't have to deal with her. Let your mother deal with her.
Yes.
$2,105.49.
I have evidence right here that shows that it was a gift. I think it's
$2,105.49. Judgment for the plaintiff.
It shows right here that
We're
she
done.
wasn't paying or whatever. Don't worry about the credit card bill. You owe me. I will pay it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
What were you going to do with the trailer?
I was going to grow some marijuana.
Where?
In the trailer.
Neighbors feel burned after renting their RV.
He told me he was camping, that he needed the trailer to live in. Am I right?
Macy, you don't get your deposit back.
Now a family's on the line of fire.
This person called Children's Services on us simply because for $1,000.
Some moron like you has to be punished.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sean Silkwood is suing neighbors Susan Burkhart and her husband, Victor Ramirez, for the return of his deposit on a trailer, as well as the money.
All rise.
Your Honor's case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Silkwood versus Burkhart Ramirez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Mr. Silkwood, how did you meet the defendants?
We're neighbors.
How long have you been neighbors?
About 5 years.
Do you have your own home?
I do not. I rent the back house of my parents' house.
And you own your own home?
Yes, we do.
That's correct.
Some time ago, Mr. Silkwood, according to the complaint that I read, you made an arrangement with the defendants to rent a trailer that they own.
Correct.
And you made an arrangement to rent that trailer for a period of 3 months.
Yes.
What were you going to do with the trailer?
I was going to grow some marijuana.
Where?
In the trailer.
Where were you going to put the trailer?
At a friend's property in Paris, California.
Did you tell the defendants what you were going to do with the trailer?
Yes, I did.
Tell me what you told them.
I asked him if he wanted to let me use his trailer. He said, for what? I told him I was going to grow some marijuana, and he was all stoked for the idea. He was all, hey, let's do it.
But you were
He told us he was camping here.
Just a second. But you told them you were going to use the trailer, the inside of the trailer to grow marijuana?
Correct.
Not live there and grow the marijuana outside.
No, inside the trailer.
Is that what he told you he wanted
No,
the trailer
Your
for?
Honor,
What did
he told
say?
me he was 3 months.
How much were you going to pay for the trailer, sir?
$1,000.
Is that correct?
No.
$1,500.
$1,500.
But he gave you a $1,000 deposit.
That's correct.
On what date?
July 23rd. With the balance of $500 paid, we'll get back from North Carolina because we were taking off our vacation at that time.
So you let him take the trailer, he gave you $1,000, and then you left on vacation?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay, and this is what I gather happened, Mr. Silkwood. The defendants helped you take the trailer to this friend's property where you were going to leave it.
Correct.
And stay with it.
Correct.
And they left.
Yes.
And later you had a conversation with your friend that said you can't leave the trailer here.
Correct.
So somehow you got the trailer back to their property.
Yes.
How did you get it back to their property?
I borrowed a friend's truck.
And you moved the trailer back to their property. And what this lawsuit is about is you want your deposit back.
Correct.
Well, you want a little more than your deposit back for some reason. I don't know what that reason is. Because you cleaned up the trailer or did something to it. Who cares? You want your deposit back. And they say you don't get your deposit back. They moved the trailer to where you wanted it. It's not their fault that your friend told you to get the trailer off the property.
Exactly.
That's what the case is about.
Exactly.
So far. Is there anything that I don't understand?
Well, the trailer didn't have valid remove it.
Who cares? You took it without a valid registration.
Yeah, I didn't know that prior.
Whose fault is that?
That's my fault.
Right. Just for my own information, you were intending to grow this marijuana for what purpose?
So I didn't have to pay for it. It's very expensive.
Okay, you have a cross complaint.
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Your cross complaint is that
This person called the Department of Children's Services on us and had them come out to my home
I see that.
And talked to our children about their father being a meth addict. They were showing my 13-year-old and my 15-year-old.
On what date did you return the trailer?
I believe it was the 25th.
Of what?
July.
And you've been their neighbor for 5 years?
Correct.
How many children did they have?
3.
Have you interacted with them and their children in the past?
Yes.
Have you ever called Child Protective Services with regard to them in the past?
No.
On what date did you call Child Protective Services?
On the 27th.
On the 27th of what?
July.
Is that before or after you spoke to them?
After.
And they told you that they were not refunding your deposit?
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, what inspired you on the 27th of July to call Child Protective Services?
Out of safety for their children. I'm a parent myself, and
you felt no need to call Child Protective Services in the 5 years that refused to give you your deposit back, that you decided that you were sufficiently concerned for the welfare of their children to make that call? Is that what you want me to believe?
it was a derogatory comments made by
It was
the
a what?
It was a comment made by the defendant
Well,
about
by
a young
which
woman.
Just a second. By which of the defendants?
The male.
And that comment was?
It was about a young girl's breast in about the 6th grade.
Tilly.
Anything else? Is there anything else?
Yes, we have a text, Your Honor, from him on this phone threatening to call the Children's Protective Services simply because for $1,000.
Just a second. Just 1 second. I'd like to see the text.
Sir.
Just give it to him.
Right there. You scroll with it.
Is it on the scroll page?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Your Honor,
So
I just want to say it was very, very, very frightening for my children.
Just a second. There's no question. There are 2 things that I'm going to say, and then this case is over. I'm dismissing your claim. The fact that your friend told you you had to move the trailer, you had already made a contract with these people. Your contract was for $1,500. The $1,000 was merely a deposit. Actually, they're not even suing for the remainder of the $500 on their counterclaim, because the fact that it's your problem. Okay, so your claim is dismissed. They're countersuing for $3,000 for your malicious call to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
And I'm granting their counterclaim for $3,000 for maliciously calling Child Protective Services for 2 reasons. One, because it was malicious and it frightened these 3 children. These 3 children were children that you knew well for 5 years. And the call that you made was a direct result of a business affair having nothing to do with the welfare of the children. Now, that's egregious towards them, but it's equally egregious with regard to Child Protective Services, an organization that is limited in their ability to address real issues of child endangerment because of staffing, and some moron like you who calls them over a business deal gone awry has to be punished. You don't use the system to get even with somebody and put children at risk and stretch otherwise limited resources because you didn't get your money back. Do we understand each other, sir? We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
Rip me off.
How dare someone do this to you?
I paid them $1,000, and they gave me credit mine.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus Trammell. Step forward.
Danita Anderson is suing her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, for unpaid rent and damages to her rental unit.
Miss Anderson, you rented a unit that you owned to Mr. Trammell and claimed that you were forced to evict him. He owes you some rent, and he damaged the premises when he left.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Trammell, well, he sort of is fuzzy about the rent part. It's sort of like, oh, well, I paid part of it, and I tried to pay the rest of it, and she wouldn't take it, whatever. So Mr. Trammell actually probably acknowledges that he owes you some rent for the time he actually lived in the house. Maybe not. We'll see. So let's take care of the rent first. Mr. Trammell, when did you move in to the residence owned by Miss Anderson?
November 2015.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Was year's lease through November 30th, 2016. It was $500 a month. You still working for Quicken Loans?
Yes, ma'am.
You work security, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. of 2016?
The reason I gave her partial rent because the job that I does is a seasonal job. So at the end of the season, it
What
kind of
season?
slowed down.
What kind of season?
As the basketball season winds down, we get kind of slow, so it's kind of slowed up.
So how much of the $500 did you give her?
I gave her exactly $300.
Now, had you always given her her money in check or cash?
I normally pay by money orders.
And you retain a copy of the money order.
Some of them I have.
Well, you should have all of them. Could you stand still? I'm getting a little seasick, and I know I'm not on a boat.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He also owed $500 for July. I allowed him to
just a minute, we didn't get to that. Do you have your money order receipt for July?
Not handy, but I have a copy of it.
If it's not handy, make it handy.
And later today,
on the 15th of December, did you have liability insurance on your car?
Exactly the day I didn't have the insurance.
So that's why we're here?
Not because of that.
Yes, exactly because of that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Danita Anderson says her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, owes for rent and for dissuing, for an unlawful eviction, and for withholding his property.
Okay, so you owe her $200 for August. Unless you tell me you paid her that money. Did you pay her the $200 for August?
When I
Just answer my questions. Did you pay her the $200 for August?
When I attempted to pay, she refused my money.
That's not what I'm asking you, sir. Did you pay her $200 in August?
Your Honor, when I offered to pay the lady the remaining balance, she would not take my money.
When did you offer to pay her?
I offered to pay her the 1st of September when I was getting ready to pay my next month's rent.
She didn't want your rent for August and September. You'd already breached your lease. So the answer is you never paid her the $200 in August. Now, did you stay in the apartment in the month of September?
No, ma'am.
You left on September 15th.
Correct.
Now, do you want to tell me why, if it's true, that he offered you the $200 that he owed you for August and September's rent on September 1st, I assume?
If I can back up, he also owed $500 for July.
He didn't pay in July?
No. And so I allowed him to
just
pay.
a minute, we didn't get to that. Do you have your money order receipt for July?
Not handy, but...
Second, if it's not handy, make it handy. Where is it?
It's not handy right now, ma'am.
So he owes you $500 for July and $200 for August. When did you give him a 30-day notice?
He was given a 3-day notice.
3-day notice.
The 1st of September.
And at that time, did he offer to tender any money?
No, ma'am.
Not true, Your Honor.
Show me. Listen to me. Show me the money order for $1,200 that you had in hand because you owed her $500 for July, $200 for August, and $500 for September. That would have been $1,200. All I need from you is proof, because hopefully this receipt will be handy. The handy proof that you tendered to her the $1,200 that you then owed her starting September 1st. I'll wait, you can look.
Oh, we can proceed. I don't have them handy right now, ma'am.
So that means he owes you $1,200 because he stayed until September 15th.
I will say this, Your Honor.
He stayed until
I
September.
didn't ask you to say anything.
He actually stayed until... Oh.
When did he stay?
So basically...
Just to get, I don't want to get basically.
Okay, so September
When did
15th is when he moved out, but he actually was on the premises on the 24th and destroyed the apartment and left on the 24th.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, I guess
All right.
I'm getting to the
That's
damages
12
that he did.
$1,200. We're not talking about the damage.
Okay.
So far.
Okay.
Now, who saw him on the premises? Because he said he was forced to leave on September 15th. Did you see him on the premises on the 24th?
I actually live in Virginia. This is my property manager who lives directly across the hall from him.
Okay. Would you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Maureen.
Miss Maureen, did you see Mr. Trammell at the apartment on the 24th of September?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances.
I woke up the morning of September the 24th. I heard some bumping in the apartment across the hall. I opened up my door. Mr. Lavelle was walking around saying, this building. I'm out of here. I'm gone. And I saw the lady there sitting with him. She was picking up stuff, taking it out the apartment. After they left, I went into the apartment. The cabinets was hanging off the wall. I immediately texted her. I said, they destroyed your cabinets. They pulled the sink off the wall.
May I see photographs of what you found?
And those first few
are
before pictures. And then the after is the damages.
Stand up. Last name?
Thomas.
Did you go to the apartment with him on the 24th?
Yes.
Look at me. Did you do that?
Of course not.
How do you think that happened? Look at me. Look at me.
When I come visit him, the house was completely, it was...
I'm showing you two specific pictures. Do you want to answer me how those cabinets got pulled off the walls?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll take them back now. Now you can sit.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a stop sign, and it was your responsibility to stop until the road was clear.
Which it was.
No, it wasn't. You're supposed to drive defensively and wait for her to leave.
She was in her number one lane, though.
I don't care if she was on Mars.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Danita Anderson says her former tenant, Lavelle Trammell, owes for rent and for destroying her rental unit. Lavelle is countersuing for an unlawful eviction and for withholding his property.
Now, nasty man.
Not at all.
Judgment for the plaintiff on your claim in the amount of $5,000. There's at least $5,000 worth of damage there, and my maximum is $5,000. That's what you get. Your counterclaim for unlawful eviction is dismissed. I would have evicted you too.
You may step out.
That damages was done by her and her crew.
He was a horrible tenant.
But that's okay, no problem. Small thing to a giant.
And I'm glad he's gone.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Tucker versus Gonzalez Dudoreva. Step forward.
Michael Tucker is suing fellow motorist Anna Gonzalez Dudoreva for causing an accident when she made a lane change in an intersection.
This is a car accident that happened in December, is that correct?
Yes.
On the 15th.
Correct.
The stop sign there is where your car was coming from, is that correct? What kind of car were you driving?
Lexus LS400.
What year?
93.
On the 15th of December of last year, did you have insurance on your car?
Yes, I did.
Liability.
Correct.
What kind of car were you driving?
Toyota Solara 2006.
On the 15th of December, did you have liability insurance on your car, and with whom?
Exactly the day I didn't have the insurance.
So that's why we're here. We're here because you didn't have insurance.
Not because of that.
Yes, because of that. Exactly because of that.
Yep.
Okay. So, Mr. Tucker, would you go over so that you can show me exactly what happened? You're coming out of your community, and?
I'm coming out of my community. I stop at the stop sign, look left, which is the one to the left. I look to the right, check for pedestrians, and look left one more time. She's still in her lane, the number one lane. So I pull out and occupy the number 2 lane. She decides to change lanes from the number 1 lane into the number 2 lane without signaling. And I was always told that you never change lanes in an intersection anyway. But she hits me. The point of impact happens in the number 2 lane, which clearly shows that she's at fault.
Well, that suggests that you hit her. That diagram suggests that you hit her.
No. And the reason I say that is because I'm in
Well, that's what your diagram shows, that the front of your car hit the rear of her car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm just telling you, Mr. Tucker,
yes,
that demonstrates that your mock-up of the accident demonstrates that you hit her in the rear.
When I'm at the stop sign, I'm at 0 miles per hour. She's coming down the road at 40. So I get into my lane before she gets to that lane, and then she slides over into me and hits me.
Okay, Mr. Tucker, now you can step back. Of course, it's not what she says happened. She says she was in that lane. I don't care what she says, active driving without insurance. But based upon what you're telling me, you had a stop sign, and it was your responsibility to stop until the road was clear.
Which it was.
No, it wasn't, because if she's coming down at 40 miles an hour, you're supposed to drive defensively and wait for her to leave.
She was in her number 1 lane, though.
I don't care if she was on Mars. If you see a car barreling down at 40 miles an hour, you wait for that car to pass.
No.
Well, so your case is dismissed. Tell it to somebody else. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She changed lanes in the intersection and hit me.
When I was passing the intersection, he hit me.
She told me that she had insurance. We exchanged information.
Just one day, it wasn't insured.
She totally lied to me. She was uninsured.
I'm not a liar. I just didn't know that I didn't have the insurance just one day.
This was the beginning of the end.
A couple's final clash.
So you were both a little inebriated and you had an argument?
Yes, where he tackled me.
She hit me first.
But who kicked off the aerial assault?
He picked up a vase and threw it at me, threw my toaster oven at me.
She threw a vase at me. I ducked. It went and hit her oven.
When two people get drunk and...
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jennifer Matchey is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jerry Heck, for an unpaid loan to buy a motorcycle, an insurance deductible, and an assault.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor's case number 246 on the calendar in the matter of Matchey versus Heck.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat.
Miss Matchey, the defendant and you were a couple and lived together, according to what I read, for about 2 years?
No, ma'am, we were not living together. We did
Never?
date. No, never.
Did you have your own home?
I did. I had an apartment. I have an apartment, which I've had since October of 14.
When did you and the defendant begin a relationship?
In September of 14.
This case has many components. Let me try to simplify it if I can. One is for a loan.
Correct.
Which you say you took out on his behalf with a promise for him to pay that loan. It was for a motorcycle. It was actually to refinance a motorcycle. You bought a motorcycle, sir?
I already owned a motorcycle, ma'am.
You were paying out.
I was paying out payments on it.
You were making payments. And at what interest rate?
29.9%. Purchased my motorcycle in June of 2013.
So about a year before you met the plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were making payments on it faithfully?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, that motorcycle was paid off by a new loan that the plaintiff took out on your behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
I believe February of 2015. Correct, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
14.
Okay. It was refinanced by me January 30th of 2016.
And what was the interest rate then?
4.9.
Quite a difference. Now, you were still dating in January of 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
So in February, the first payment would have been due on the new loan, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Who paid that?
I did, ma'am.
And what about in March, the next payment? And what amount were those payments, sir? What
They were
was the monthly?
$155.
And what had you been paying a month?
$270.
Did you make March's payment as well?
Yes, ma'am.
In the amount of $155?
Yes, ma'am.
What about April?
Yes, ma'am.
There came a time when you stopped making the payments.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month?
I made the first 5 payments.
So you made payments in February, March, April, May, and June.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you stop?
Because she was to be taking over the payments at that time. I agreed to pay the first 5 payments.
Why was she supposed to make the payments?
I did not sell her. Obtained money to pay for a custody battle she had with her ex. She had to pay the lawyer, and that was the purpose of the bike being refinanced, to obtain cash.
Was the loan that she took out greater than the loan that you
Yes,
had?
ma'am. $2,084.
What was the remaining balance on the... This is getting more complicated. The remaining balance when it was refinanced in January of 2016 was how much?
$3,500.
Was the remaining balance on
Yes,
your
ma'am.
loan? And how much of a loan did you take out?
I took out a loan for approximately $5,600.
Okay. Which means that you had more than enough money to pay off his loan. What did you do with the other $2,000?
Actually, they gave him a check, which I have right here, and he cashed it.
May I see it? He can cash it. What I'm asking you is the loan that was outstanding was only $3,500 left.
Correct. And then he got to keep the difference. That's the check that my bank gave him because he sold me the bike for that amount, or ultimately sold the bike to me because I wanted the title in my name. I wasn't going to just let him have everything, you know, the title and the loan and such.
Well, he had already been paying off this bike for a couple of years.
He was 2 months behind, and he asked me for approximately 2 weeks. Hesitated also prior to doing it. However, he was my boyfriend. I loved him, and I wanted...
Well, that's sort of interesting. He was my boyfriend, and I loved him. I need collateral.
Oh, collateral? I know. I refinanced his motorcycle for him.
I understand that, but then you wanted it in your name.
Absolutely, because it was my loan.
I understand. But it sort of doesn't go together with I love you, but now I'm going to take out this loan, but now I want it in my name.
Well, it's
probably
business.
good sense. What did you do with the motorcycle? You sold it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the original company that you had financed with sent you the title because there was no longer a lien on it because you paid off the lien.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
right? And in what month and year did you sell the motorcycle?
June 13th
of this year.
2016.
To whom?
The motorcycle dealership that I originally purchased it from.
Did you buy another motorcycle?
No, ma'am.
So you sold it back to the company?
Yes. I was having no luck on Craigslist, and
You were what?
I needed selling it myself, and I'm laid off, and I needed money.
Fine. How much did you get for it?
$4,000, ma'am.
How much is left on the loan?
The balance on the loan now is $6,300. They've added insurance, interest.
I'm not getting involved with that. Tell me, sir, about this money that you needed for a lawyer for a custody battle.
She was in a battle with daughter's father, and there was a guardian, and she came from her last court date, and he had won. She was losing, and he had gained full custody, and he got that she had to pay half of her charges, which was
half of the guardian's charges.
Yeah, which was a couple thousand. So she needed money, and she was off on disability, so she wasn't able to do it. And also, her car was upside down, so we used my bike to use as collateral for her to take, because it had equity in it.
She took out some cash, but she also paid off your bike.
Yes.
Okay. But if the loan was $5,600, sir, let's just say it was $3,500, you made 5 payments of $155. That's still a lot of money that you owe her, because you sold the bike and took all the benefit.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's say it's just $3,500, and that I believe everything you say about the lawyer, because that's too convoluted for you to make up. But you made 5 payments of $155. Forget about it, everything else, insurance or anything for the moment. $155 times 5 equals $775. And let's say the original loan was $3,500 less $775 equals $2,725. And to that, I'm going to add a nice round number so it comes to $3,000 because you haven't paid money in dollars. So you got $4,000. So you ended up with $1,000 for the motorcycle. But I can see no reason why you shouldn't pay her back this $3,000.
I didn't have a problem with that, ma'am. After I sold the bike, I paid 2 payments after I sold the bike, or 1, whatever it is. But she came to me that her credit union was upset that there's no insurance on the bike. Well, I didn't have a bike to insure. So she went to take the, she's telling me she's going to sue me, which we're doing right now. And I said, let's just get an agreement. Because at this time, which I should have done in the beginning, was get a written agreement how we did all this. I learned my lesson on that. And she refused. All she wanted was the full payment. She didn't want to drag it on. We were broke up, but I had no access to do that.
And you should have paid her when you sold the bike in June. Anyway, so far you owe her $3,000. Now you have other parts to this lawsuit. You claim that you had a fight with him and he assaulted you.
Yes,
on what date?
On April 20th, 2016. This was the beginning of the end.
Just a second. When was the last time you dated? I thought that was in June.
No, it was in April when we had the altercation and I filed a restraining order.
Fine. Tell me about what happened.
He got upset. And
over this money?
No, it
Over
wasn't
what?
even about the motorcycle. It was just general, tension that was coming between us. I was on hills. He tends to not really...
Did you have cocktails or just him?
Oh, no, I did too.
So you were both a little inebriated and you had an argument?
Yes.
Okay.
Where he tackled
Fine.
me.
Okay, fine. Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, I actually had to go to Aspen Orthopedic. It was a re-injury of my rotator cuff and have an MRI done and such. The police did come and take him, of course, as well. And they said that I will need another rotator cuff surgery.
What were you on disability for?
For the original rotator cuff incident.
Okay. We're going to leave that. We're going to come to insurance deductible.
Yes, ma'am. He actually came a couple of days later after the police took him away and showed up at my door. And I don't know how he got in my locked building. And when I opened the door, I was shocked to see him, certainly. He walked in, he said he needed to get something. I said, you're not allowed to be in the building. He then came in, was trying to make himself comfortable. I was very uncomfortable myself. Conversation ensued. I might have said something about his father. He thought that was derogatory, which was not my intention at all. He picked up a vase and threw it at me across my living room, kept throwing stuff through my toaster oven at me, broke tons of stuff, and therefore I had to file an insurance claim. They paid most of that documentation.
I'd like to see it. How did her property get destroyed, sir?
She threw a vase at me. I ducked. It went and hit her oven. And the police took me to my sister's and my mother's. They did not take me to jail. I'm a 300-pound guy. If I would hit her, they'd know it.
I'm not...
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When two people get drunk and have a fight, I'm not getting in between that.
Yeah, when she started in, I should have left, but I was drinking, so I couldn't drive to leave.
That's what happened that night. Two of you had too much to drink and had a fight.
And later today...
So you called him and said, could you loan Adrian money to buy a car?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I don't believe that. That you called him and said, could you lend Adrian money to buy a car, and I'll pay you back when I sell the houses. He didn't make up that story.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Matchey says ex-boyfriend Jerry Heck owes for a loan for a motorcycle, an insurance deductible, and an assault.
Okay, listen. When two people get drunk and have a fight, I'm not getting in between that. That's what happened that night. The two of you had too much to drink and had a fight.
Yeah, when she started in, I should have left, but I was drinking, so I couldn't drive to leave.
I'm just asking you whether or not you picked up any of the stuff in her house. What'd she say about
She
your
hit
father?
me first.
She
Started
hit you
punching me in the back. The previous incident, she punched me in the mouth, and I just shoved her off, and she was drunk, so she stumbled into the wall, and that's where she injured her shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And there was no...
And they took me home that time, too. I've never been to jail.
Just 1 second. And at that time, at the time that he came into your apartment, you had a temporary protective order, is that right?
No, I got it after that.
So you didn't have any protective order, so what do you mean he's not allowed in your building?
My manager of the building, because she witnessed the police.
Don't tell me what she witnessed. I'm not interested in what you think somebody else witnessed, and I'm not interested in what you think she said.
Well, that's what she
All I'm asking you is, at the time that he entered your apartment and you let him in for the second time after this alleged incident when you were both drunk, you had no protective order.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Did you have a trial for the protective order, sir?
No, ma'am.
You did not?
No.
Did you consent to her having a protective order?
No, I was just told later on that she had filed one.
Did you ever get a permanent protective order?
No.
He owes you $3,000 for the loan, and that's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. The remainder of your claims are dismissed. We're done.
Always excuse, you may step out.
I believe it was fair.
I'm certainly, happy that I got awarded the $3,000. He got drunk and threw me against the wall, and it's that simple.
Hopefully she learns her lesson like I've learned mine.
I just want it to be peaceful. Just go our own ways and call it a day.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bird versus Eastlas. Step forward.
24-year-old Craig Bird Jr. and his mother, Julie, are suing Craig's grandmother, Ninfa Islas, for an unpaid loan and stolen property.
Mr. Bird, this is your grandmother.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your mother.
Yes.
Which one of you loaned her the money for the car?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. And it is your claim that you loaned your grandmother this money so that she could purchase a car or assist in purchasing a car for her son. Now, when did you loan her the money?
On June 8th, 2015, Your Honor.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you loaning her the money.
Well, the initial agreement was I'll loan her the money for her to get her son a vehicle, and she would repay me after she sold her houses, and that never happened.
Well, where were you when you had this conversation?
In Colorado, on the phone.
Did she call you or did you call her?
She called me.
And tell me what she said to you.
She asked me if I could loan her
Tell
son.
me exactly what she said.
She said, grandson, can you loan Adrian $2,100 to get a vehicle? I said, I don't know, that's a lot of money. She said, I know I'm putting them up to go for sale on the market.
Did she say when she was putting them up for sale?
No, but present time. They were already there for sale. So I knew that they were...
So she said, I'll pay you for the loan when I sell my houses.
Yes, ma'am.
Has she sold her houses?
Yes.
Did she pay any part of it when she sold the houses?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I don't owe him any money.
No. Did he hand the money to you?
No, ma'am.
Who did you hand the money to?
I handed it to her son because he was in Colorado with me. She was in Texas selling her houses.
I see. Now I understand, Mr. Bird. Now I got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have a ridiculous countersuit, which I probably won't even entertain. And I'm not entertaining your complaint for emotional distress, because the only one that's usually emotionally distressed after a day here is me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Berg Jr. and his mother, Julie, claim Craig's grandmother, Ninfa Islas, owes for a loan and stolen property. Ninfa is countersuing for damaged and missing property and motel expenses.
Okay, so you called Carr.
No, ma'am.
You never called him?
No.
No, I don't believe that. He didn't make up that story. He didn't make up that story. That you called him and said, could you lend Adrian money to buy a car and I'll pay you back when I sell the houses. He didn't make up that story. Where is Adrian now? Do you know?
No, ma'am.
In the wind. Where's Adrian now?
I don't know.
Good. Did you sell any of the houses that you had up for sale?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. $2,100. That's for you. On the car.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, there's lots of other little issues here that I don't know whether we want to get into. You have a ridiculous countersuit, which I probably won't even entertain. And I'm not entertaining your complaint for emotional distress, because the only one that's usually emotionally distressed after a day here is me. You claim that at some point your grandmother took property from the house where she was staying that didn't belong to her.
Yes,
Did it
Your
belong to you?
Yes,
ma'am.
Tell me what she took.
She took miscellaneous items as rake, trash cans.
Listen, my parents didn't send me to school for dozens of years so that I could deal with a rake and trash cans between a daughter and a mother.
There were expensive items, an air conditioner.
Let's get to the expensive items that you claim she took.
There was an air conditioner.
An air conditioner, a window air conditioner?
Yes.
Was it in the window?
No, it was in the garage where the items were that she took were.
Did you take an air conditioner when you moved out?
My home is central. I don't need it.
So the answer
I did not take it,
the
no,
answer
ma'am.
would be no. Okay. A barbecue grill. What kind of barbecue grill?
An outside barbecue grill, like a smoker. They also picked that up. We asked them to bring it back. They didn't bring it back.
Did you take the smoker?
That belongs to him.
Who is him?
Alfred Medina, my son.
You bought the smoker?
Yes, ma'am. I paid $25 for it, and it was mine. I took it.
Sit down. I'm not dealing with the smoker either. All right, so we're finished with you. You get your loan back of $2,100.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, just for giggles, you want to tell me you came to live with them for a period of time. It didn't work out. There was some sort of major kerfuffle, and you had to leave. So you want them to pay for your motel expenses, the security deposit you had to put down on an apartment, those things that you think that they're responsible for.
I'm 58.
Well, then you'd be responsible for your own living expenses. Money owed for damaged and missing property. What property? And you notice how quickly I resolved their property issue of the rake and the smoker and the air conditioner from the garage. So I want you to tell me what missing property that you claim they have that belongs to you.
I have a Virgin Mary that is very priceless to me.
Okay. I can't help you with the Virgin Mary that's priceless to you. You don't have it anymore. What else?
In my property, I lost all my tools that I had recently used to remodel both of the homes that I had sold in Amarillo.
Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. We're done.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The German Shepherd took off.
So it was not on a leash?
Not at that time, no.
The neighbors saw it all unfold.
The German Shepherd was in front of Cody's house, sniffing around. And that's when his pit bull had came out.
And the attack was hard to watch.
The dog had then latched onto my dog's neck, pulling.
Her daughter, Krissa, did have a lot of blood on her.
Your dog was out of your control.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
22-year-old Cody McMaster for vet bills as the result of a dog fight.
Order. All rise.
That's case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Sazwa versus McMaster.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Sazwa, it is your claim that while you and this is your daughter were walking your two dogs.
Right.
You have a large dog and a small dog.
Yes.
Show me where you live in relation to the defendant. I see you live where there's a P and defendant is the D.
I live here, and Cody lives right here. There is a small house that lives back between us with a tenant there.
You were walking your dogs on what date at what time?
Okay, what had happened was we have a backyard, and we have actually 3 dogs. The 2 dogs that were going to be going out were a Chihuahua and a German Shepherd, and we chained them up. Went to chain up the German Shepherd, and I had the little one in my hand, and the German Shepherd took off.
The German Shepherd took off, so it was not on a leash?
Not at that time, no.
Okay. Go ahead. So the dog was not on a leash.
Right. She took off, went into his yard somehow, because he does have a fenced-in yard.
Okay.
The Chihuahua took off across the street. I yelled for Chris, Layla, because she was in Cody's
Go get
yard.
Layla, because Layla was on his property.
In his property. And so that's what she did. She would have got the leash. I went across the street and got the Chihuahua. Chris is walking out of his backyard, out of the driveway. A truck pulls up and knocks on Cody's door for a few seconds.
Okay, just a second. You glossed over that for me. So your daughter went and got a leash.
Yes.
Stand up. And what did you do when you got the leash?
I got the leash and I ran over to our defendant's property and grabbed the dog. I leashed her. I then walked to the front of his yard where the street lined up, and my mom was coming, and I...
Just a second. At that time, your dog was leashed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at that moment, were you on his property or the street?
When I was walking my dog home, I was on the street.
You weren't home yet?
No.
So tell me what you saw.
I was waiting for my mom to bring my smaller dog with. We were going to go then walk them. There was someone at his house that opened the door. 2 large pit bulls came out.
Were you the one who opened the door?
No.
Who opened the door?
My roommate.
Who's not here?
No.
Well, what did she see?
She's a neighbor across the street, and she's seen the whole interactment.
Okay, great. You were a neighbor?
Yes.
Okay, he wasn't home?
No.
Your last name is?
Rivera.
Okay, Miss Rivera. Show me at what point you began watching the action.
Well, actually, I was in my driveway that...
Show me where you live.
Right here.
Okay.
But there's an empty lot right next door to my house.
Okay.
And my driveway is right in here.
Okay.
I was outside that afternoon cleaning out my trunk, and Laura's little dog came running across the street into my yard.
Okay. And when she came running across the street into your yard, I assume Miss Sazwa came and got her.
Yes.
Did you see her daughter?
No.
So far her story is correct.
Yes.
That the dogs got out, the Chihuahua ran across the street, she went to get the Chihuahua.
Yes.
What's the next thing that you saw?
As she had her dog in her arms, she was walking back across the street towards her property, and her German Shepherd was following behind her.
Behind
her? Yes.
Behind?
Laura. I don't know her. I'm sorry, I don't know her last name.
Okay, so her German Shepherd was following behind her, and?
Yes. As she was walking back, the German Shepherd had stopped in front of Cody's house.
Where exactly?
Right here in the front yard, because he's got a pull-up driveway, and the German Shepherd was in front of Cody's house, in front of his driveway, sniffing around.
Okay, on the lawn, because you're pointing to 2 different areas. You're
I'm sorry.
Pointing to
yes,
2 different
this is
areas.
Cody's yard right here in the front.
Okay, around.
In the front yard, just because he's got a couple trees and stuff out there.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's when someone came and knocked on Cody's door, and they had opened up the door, and that's when his pit bull had came out.
Did you see what happened when his pit bull
Yes, I
came?
did. At first, they were just growling. I'm sorry. At first, they were just growling, you know, like barking and
So you
growling.
observed this?
Yes.
At any time, did you see this young lady?
Only at the end of it, when she had jumped in and tried to separate them.
That's the first time you saw her?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
When the dog came out, the roommate was able to, like, kind of get him to, like, stand away for a second, but they were both kind of just, like, growling and, you know, antagonizing each other. And that's when they kind of just, they both went in for each other. They both just launched in.
Now, when they went after each other, I'm going to ask you to make one more trip back to that poster. When they were going after each other, can you show me where exactly that was?
Well, at this point, they were more towards the front of Cody's house in the street on Arthur.
So they were in the street?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now you can go back. Well, this young lady?
Yes.
Trying to get them apart?
Yes.
When did you see Mr. McMaster?
About maybe 5 to 7 minutes after everything was happening, because his roommate had came out and they were throwing water on the dogs to separate them, and we couldn't get them apart. I mean, there were other people on the block that were, you know...
But they managed to get one of the dogs away, so it was just the 2 dogs that were fighting?
No, Your Honor, it was only 2 dogs involved in the fight, not 3.
No, but he has 2 pit bulls.
Yeah, but only one
Only one was involved. Only one got out, and one was involved with the fight.
Right.
Okay.
At this point, everyone was just trying to separate them. Okay. And that's when Laura had ran inside and grabbed her cell phone and was saying, I'm going to call the cops. You know, my daughter's probably injured, because her daughter, Krissa, did have a lot of blood on her. And we all thought, you know, she did get, you know, punctured wounds or something because she was in the middle of the fight. But in reality, it was just the blood from the dogs latching onto each other.
I believe her.
You do?
I do. I believe her.
She wasn't
You have
there.
to pay your own vet bills.
She wasn't there.
I believe her. Your dog was out of your control and was actually on his property. If she were going to lie to me, she would make it a great lie. She really didn't. It took place in the street. It had moved out to the street.
Right, and it actually went a little further down, because that's where the dogs were just wrestling with each other and moved further down, more towards Laura's house.
So it's a lesson for you. You had vet bills of $300-some-odd. What?
Can I ask a question? Are you related?
No, just a second.
I'm sorry.
Ask.
I'm sorry.
Tell me what you want to ask her.
I wanted to know if they were related.
No.
They're not related. She's just telling the truth.
Well, it's...
She's just telling the truth. Your dog was not leashed. You told that story because that story, if your dog was actually leashed and his dog was out of his control, then they would be responsible for your vet bills. But you have 2 dogs that were out of their owner's control, and they had a fight. And your dog got the worst of the bargain. What?
I would just like to do my my story of what had happened. It's quite different than hers.
You can tell whatever story you like. I'm telling you, I don't believe that you had your dog on a leash. You going to tell me you had your dog on a leash? But just a second. Are you going to tell me you had your dog on a leash?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The dog had then latched onto my dog's neck. My dog was scared to death and whining, and I fell to the ground. The dog had scratched me several times. Okay.
During this fight.
And later today.
If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015, did I get it?
You did.
Bingo.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laura Saswell claims neighbor Cody McMaster is responsible for vet bills resulting from a dog fight.
Okay. You going to tell me you had your dog on a leash?
When the dog got attacked, my dog was on a leash.
Yes. Go show me.
Okay. The dog did get out, was in Cody's property, okay? So while I was latching my dog, someone banged on his door and said, they didn't say anything.
While you were latching your dog?
On the leash.
Go ahead.
I then brought my female dog, Layla, out to the street. My mom and I were going to walk our dogs. We were already over here, and the 2 dogs dove right at us. We were all the way over here, and the dog had then latched onto my dog's neck, pulling, and would not let go. My dog was not fighting back. My dog was scared to death and whining, and I had fell to the ground. The dog had scratched me several times. He has 2 dogs. The 2 dogs were out. The 2 roommates were able to get the first dog back in the house, and his second dog was
on a leash during this fight.
Your Honor.
What?
She was saying that my dog wasn't attacked, but I have pictures showing injuries from the fight.
I believe that your dog might have been injured. Pay for your own dog's injuries.
No, I know. I took care of him. I was just...
Yeah, pay for your own dogs. They were both out of control. She has a large dog. The large dog, A, was trespassing on your property at some point, so that you have 2 dogs who clearly are designed for protection. You have 2 pit bulls?
Yeah, pit bulls.
Mm-hmm. And You had her large dog that was on your property, was loose on your property, and I don't know what was going on inside because I would have actually liked to have heard the roommate, but you brought the right witness. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Pay your own vet bill.
Parties are excused. You step out.
He's irresponsible, and he knows that.
I feel like it was very fair.
If you're going to have an animal, take care of it.
We're neighbors. I mean, we got to live together.
Dogs are the ones that's going to suffer from this, from him being careless.
I hope we can be civil.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larkin versus Nelson. Step forward.
Brady Larkin is suing James Nelson for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Mr. Larkin, you maintain a storage unit in which you keep motorcycles and some other vehicles because you're a collector. How many vehicles do you have?
3 70 El Caminos, and then...
3 what?
1970 El Caminos, and then I do.
I'd like to see them. And the storage unit, I assume, is a big one.
About 1,000 square feet.
Your claim is that Mr. Nelson was negligent in spraying some things that he had in his storage unit, which is in the same vicinity as yours. And because he was careless, gunk got on your car, cars or vehicles. When did you notice that these cars had gunk on them?
When I removed them from storage in the spring of 2016.
Give me the month.
April, I believe it was.
And prior to that, when had you seen the cars?
I've been in my unit a couple times over the winter, but
okay, well, give me prior to April of 2016. When did you see the cars?
I would suppose I stopped in there every month or so. I was in the same building at another unit that my business was in.
So you saw them a month before?
Right, but I didn't physically, take them out, wash them, and notice the damage.
So you don't know when this damage took place?
Sometime over the winter time.
Which is a long period of time. Okay, what is this a picture of?
That is the wall between Jim's unit and my unit. Shows that the previous tenant tried to seal up said leaks, I guess, which obviously wasn't done correctly.
What leaks?
Well, the building is not the best construction. It's kind of a little lower income.
So could you describe this gunk that you found in April?
Explain overspray a little better than I can. And
well,
I also
would like to hear what that is.
Okay. Mike, and then
Overspray.
Tell me what your name is.
Mike Warner from Fargo Moorhead Custom and Collision. I have my own body shop. I've been doing paint work for about 40 years, 35 years. Overspray is a product from the air pressure in the gun turning the liquid into a spray form. It makes a mist, and it's a very fine mist, and it can get in any cracks like a gas. So any adjacent rooms, if you don't have proper ventilation, the overspray can fall on it, but it's paint, so when it dries, it doesn't come off so easy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you buff it, it does come off.
Yes. Sometimes you got to work harder than others, depending on how thick it is.
Well, sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brady Larkin says James Nelson owes for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Go ahead.
There's 2 ways to take it off. Either buff it with a machine or chemical, and chemicals can obviously wreck some stuff.
Okay. When you buff it with a machine,
yes,
it does come off.
Yes.
Sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it. Now, what were you spraying, Mr. Nelson?
I sprayed during the period of time that he had his vehicles in there, black paint, gray primer, white paint, gray primer, and
were
green.
you supposed to be doing any spraying in the unit?
Sure. Been doing it for 14 years.
In that unit?
Yes.
And how long had your vehicles been in that unit?
From about late September, early October of 2015 until April of 2016.
So this was the first year that your cars were there?
Correct, and I was told that he was no longer spraying in his unit.
You can't tell me what you were told, sir.
Well, he was shut down by the Fargo Police Department for spraying in there and was...
Okay, but he had been doing it for 14 years.
He admits to it in writing that he was...
I'd like to see it.
That he was shut down.
No, I believe he was shut down. It doesn't mean he hadn't been doing it for 14 years.
Oh, for sure. All right.
Yeah. Do you have any pictures where I could see actually what this gunk looks like on your car?
I have a video that you could watch, Your Honor. Might have to turn the volume up.
Typically, overspray would only land, but
This is what normal paint feels like. Smooth. This is overspray. I mean, clearly you can feel and see the difference and hear it.
Did you buff off the overspray?
Not yet, no.
But you're going to?
Yes, well, we'd like to eventually, yes.
Mr. Nelson, you've used this storage unit for 14 years, and you've been spraying things in there for 14 years. Do you do that for a living?
Yes, I sprayed cabinets with a clear lacquer up until the spring before he came in there.
And had anyone been in the unit that he just started to rent?
Always.
And do you know what was stored in those units?
They're not so much storage, they're workshops. And what he's complaining about on his cars is a clear lacquer, which I used to spray a lot of. And I didn't spray a drop of any clear substance during that time.
You should start buffing off his cars. He's not getting $4,500 from the defendant. You have to show Mr. Larkin that somehow the defendant was negligent in what he was doing, which he had done for 14 years.
Oh, he was negligent?
You have to show somehow that he was negligent in doing what he did for me to be satisfied that he's responsible to pay you.
Well, he states in there that he sprayed in that time frame, and there's no way to...
Just a second. Do you rent the shed or do you own it?
We rent.
They rent just like he rents, just like you do.
Correct, but he was shut down and told not to spray in that unit.
Before this happened?
Before this happened.
Oh.
Yes, that's the...
Just a second. Well,
before I
that's
moved my vehicles in there.
That's interesting.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. When did the fire department shut you down, Mr. Nelson?
May, June of 2015. But they didn't shut me down. They just said not to spray in there because of...
Just a second. If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015... Did I get it?
You did.
Bingo.
If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015 by the fire department, then you have a problem.
I quit spraying.
Mr. Nelson, I don't believe that. Somehow this happened. Okay. Now,
Ma'am?
Mike,
Yes.
let's you and I have a discussion.
Sure.
It doesn't cost $5,000 to take a buffer and buff out.
No, it costs
cars.
about $400 per vehicle.
Yes.
The bike's a little bit more. One motor, flat matte black. So there is no way to buff it off of that. You can't take chemicals off it. It'll ruin the finish. It'll shine it up. That's why the repaint is $2,000 on the one. And then to take the motorcycle apart is another estimate, I believe, from Pure Performance. But because the one bike has to be repainted to do.
And are you going to do that?
Yes, if we get this settled, yeah.
The others can be buffed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Nelson, there's no question that you, in violation of what you were told by the fire department, sprayed after the time that you were told not to spray, and that's what was on his vehicles. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,600. We're finished. Thank you.
He doesn't have any green paint on his car.
Bodies are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
He's got clear paint on his cars, and I painted green paint.
Doing it too long with no ventilation, I think.
They were so dirty that I couldn't see anything.
They're my prized possessions.
So I quit spraying lacquer. I never sprayed a drop after that.
Check on your stuff a little more and see what your neighbor's up to.
Her dog didn't bite you, but it frightened you.
Panic over a dog on the loose.
He jumped the fence. He scared me out of my mind.
It's a pretty high fence.
I don't know what that dog would have did to my baby.
The city told me to put the gate up properly, and I did that.
Says she's barking up the wrong tree.
Who called the dog back?
Didn't anybody call the dog back. The dog was already in the gate.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tasha Jones is suing her neighbor, Tasha Bell, for damages due to a dog attack and harassment.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 326 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Bell. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Jones, how long have you and Miss Bell been neighbors?
Actually, I've been staying in my house about 3 years. She wasn't living there at the time I moved in. She moved in there
How long have you been there?
Since November of 2015.
What kind of a dog do you have?
A Rhodesian Ridgeback.
How big a dog is that?
She comes to about right here.
And you have problems with this dog. That's
Yes,
what this
ma'am.
case is about. In this case, you allege that you were out in your driveway and her dog got loose. Her dog didn't bite you, but it
No.
frightened you.
Well, this is not the first time. Okay.
But it frightened you.
Right.
It frightened you, causing you to fall over and injuring yourself. And also, tell me, what time of the day did this happen on September 19th?
Actually, it was the 20th. On the 20th, I was outside putting some water in my truck. So they let their dog out again. Like I said, they always...
Just a minute. They have a fenced-in yard.
Right. I got pictures to show you.
They have a
all that,
fenced
too.
yard.
Right. It's not properly secured. The gate has a tire holding the front of it up. So on this particular day, I'm outside putting some water in my truck, and they let the dog out. He starts barking immediately at my 1-year-old. So I keep her close to me, put some water in my truck, go back to fill my jug up again, and as I'm looking up, her dog is coming over the fence, but I have told Miss Bell on 3 or 4 more occasions to please put your dogs up. She has more than one dog, by the way.
Can I see pictures of the fence?
You want me to keep talking?
It's a pretty high fence.
It's not that high. She
Yeah,
put
it-
those boards up there probably.
No, it's a pretty high fence. I see it in relation to the car, because there's a car here.
And I'm gonna tell you, when he ran back out my yard, he went through the front of the fence.
What do you mean he went through the front of the fence?
When not her daughter here, but...
Hey, let's pay careful attention to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You told me a moment ago that the dog jumped over the
Yeah,
fence.
he jumped over the fence.
Now you said the dog went through the front of the fence.
When her daughter called him when I was screaming, she heard me screaming. He actually ran and went through the front of the fence to go back home.
To get back home, you went through the fence. But
front
what
of
you're telling me is that her dog jumped over this fence.
Right.
And it frightened you.
Frightened me and my daughter. I'm gonna tell you the reason why it frightened me, because a previous accident, her dogs jumped the fence and mauled my daughter here, over 20 bites, stitches, and stuff. So I wasn't gonna let that happen again. She has not complied with the leash law for her dogs. Like I said, I have called my neighbor 3 or 4 times asking.
Was this dog taken away?
Oh, we gave that dog away. Taz did that. And that dog was given away. It was 2 dogs.
If you were...
2. And when that happened, my fence wasn't up.
Was not up?
It wasn't. And the city told me to put the gate up properly, and I did that. No, ma'am.
Did you have homeowner's insurance?
Yes, ma'am. And she did file a claim.
And when was that?
That was the beginning of October of 2015.
And was that claim settled?
No, ma'am. It was settled for $51,000. That's probably what she got.
Just a second. I don't want you to interrupt her again.
Okay.
Did you have a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the net amount that your daughter put in the bank?
The total amount was $51,000. When my daughter got through with the lawyer fees and everything, it was $32,000. Yes, ma'am.
But you collected that money?
Yeah, my daughter collected. It's in a trust fund for her.
Great. Actually doesn't make up for these injuries.
It doesn't. You're right.
It doesn't make up for the injuries.
My minimum was $100,000. It was a $500,000 liability policy, but they did give her the minimum of $100,000.
Do you still have it?
Through
Have the
State Farm, yes, ma'am.
You still have the policy. Okay, and then
No. They canceled the policy after they paid her off.
Did you get another policy?
No.
You should have another policy. You have how many dogs?
3.
What
which
kind
is
are
2 only living there now.
One is a Rhodesian
And
Ridgeback.
yes, and the other one is like a little German Shepherd.
How little a German Shepherd?
It's maybe 4 months, almost 4 months.
So it's a puppy?
Yes.
You should have insurance. Homeowners.
Okay.
Get it. Otherwise, she won't have to worry about you. She'll sue you and she'll own your house.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Judge, I just want to say, none of this is true what she's saying. My daughter could have been killed.
Just listen to me. A long time ago, you sued her. Your daughter was compensated for her injuries. And this dog, if I believe you, didn't bite you. You were frightened, you say, by the dog. And you fell.
No, I didn't fall. Actually, I was running with my jug in my hand. I threw my 1-year-old behind me, and I slipped and twisted my ankle. Threw my daughter behind me.
Just
her
a second.
head.
Just a second.
Here's the picture.
Shh, I'm speaking.
Okay.
So what you're telling me is that you were walking with your water jug.
To fill it up again, right.
Right. And you fell and
no,
you
I didn't
slipped.
fall until after I seen her dog coming charging towards my 1-year-old.
What did you fall on? How did you hurt yourself?
I didn't fall. Let's clear that up. I twisted my ankle trying to run and grab my 1-year-old and throw her behind me because I was scared that dog was going to tear my little 1-year-old apart. And I got the pictures to show it.
Show what?
Show the injuries of my daughter's head when I had to throw her behind me to protect her. Because, I mean, I don't trust my neighbor dogs. And I don't know what that dog would have did to my baby if I hadn't ran and grabbed her. And this the pictures of that. We went to the emergency.
Could I see pictures of the baby, please?
And this the pictures, and I got the bills also, and where they wrapped my ankle with ace wrap.
See the police report that you filed.
I don't have a police report.
Why not?
Because
I want to see your report from animal control that you filed.
The one I tried to pull off my email, animal control sent it to me, but it's something wrong with my email, and I couldn't pull it out, but they did give me both reports, and I can't pull it out of my email, and I don't know why.
On what date did you call the police?
The same day. They came out. I had a panic attack because I've been bit by a dog, and she's saying her dog's puppy.
Let me explain something. Doesn't do anything purposely. She was told to put up a fence. She put up a fence. It looks like a high enough fence. You say no. I say this looks like a chain link fence that could keep in a dog that she says is about 3 feet off the ground.
Yes.
3 feet off the ground. Ordinarily, this would be a reasonable fence to keep that dog in. I wouldn't think that that dog could jump over this fence. You say it did. You were home.
Yes, ma'am.
Step up next to your mom. Tell me your first name.
Tykeria Washington.
You were home on that day.
Yes, ma'am.
And you heard the plaintiff outside?
Well, she was inside the house, like yelling, stating that she was going to call the police.
And where was your mom?
She was outside.
Your mom was outside?
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to tell me what called your attention.
When she was screaming, like yelling at the door, stating
Yelling at what door?
At her side door, she was yelling, stating that she was going to call the police.
So she was outside?
No, she was inside. She was inside yelling, screaming that
But with the door open?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where was her baby?
I guess she was inside, too. The baby was
Had you
inside.
seen her outside before?
That day?
That day. Had you seen her outside near her truck with her baby?
Well, I didn't see, because I guess her water hydrant is behind the truck, so I didn't, like, really see, like, where she was.
How old is the Rhodesian Ridgeback, the dog?
She 1 year.
Have you ever seen her slip through the fence?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember when your mom put up the fence?
A couple weeks after the attack, she put the fence up.
And you've never seen your dog get through that fence?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen the dog get through that fence?
No, I never seen her jump over the fence, no.
Could you stand up? Tell me your first name.
Taylor Ross.
You see their dog in the yard frequently?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you ever see the dog scale the fence, jump over the fence?
No, ma'am.
You. Did you ever see the dog get through the fence?
No, ma'am.
I don't think this dog jumped over the fence.
Your Honor, he jumped the fence. He scared me out of my mind. I'm scared of dogs, regardless of how little or small they are. I actually got bit by a dog. He jumped over that fence, and when he came back, he went through that gate where they don't have secure. I'm actually the one that told her about the kids that tore her fence down. I actually was the one
I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about now that the fence is up.
No, she told you that the fence got put up after my daughter got bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's been up and it's been in that condition. It actually hangs. This is what I'm going to tell you. The dog got over that fence that day. And her daughter, her oldest daughter, is the one that seen him in my face barking. Only thing that kept that dog from biting me in my 1-year-old was I had that jug in my hand. When her oldest daughter called that dog back.
What's your older daughter's name?
My oldest daughter's name is Tatiana Washington, and it was 2 daughters and my son that was out there. It was this one and it was Jalea. Jalea's only 13 years old. She was out there, and Jeremy, he's 21. He was out there, and myself.
On that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Who called the dog back?
Didn't anybody call the dog back. The dog was already in the gate.
Okay. Now I'll see your medical reports.
The bill's going to be on top.
None of these reports has a write-up?
What you mean write-up?
A write-up of what you told the emergency room doctor.
It's on there, the head contusion for my daughter
Just a
and
second.
the sprain for me.
Just a second. You have any other medical reports?
No, ma'am. That's all I have.
I find it hard to believe that a dog jumped over this fence.
He did, Your Honor. I can promise you that.
And the dog didn't bite you?
No, thank God he didn't bite me or my 1-year-old, because I threw her behind me. That's how she got that on me, because I grabbed her, and that's how they took the x-rays of her arm, because when we got to the emergency room, she didn't want to lift her arm, so they took an x-ray. I had to literally throw my daughter behind me, and I got a brick house, and wasn't no one out there when this happened, and that's the truth. Only person came to my rescue was her oldest daughter. I was hollering at the top of my lungs, somebody help, help. Nobody was out there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm asking you the question. I'm prepared to make the call.
Right.
Which daughter was it?
It was the daughter that drives.
All of them drive.
I drive. That's the daughter that I had to call the police
Just a
on.
second.
Her daughter came to my yard trying to fight me, by the way.
Real cases.
Jones says Tasha Bell owes for damages from a dog attack and harassment.
Now, where's your older daughter?
She probably at work. My oldest daughter works 3 jobs. That's when I know she wasn't the one she's
Just a
talking
second.
about.
That's who she says was there.
But I have a phone number.
Give me her cell number.
It's 812-82, and her name is Tatiana Washington.
Your Honor, that's not the name she called when the police came out. She called her Kayla.
Jalea. She's 13.
Just a second.
That's not the one. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm asking you the question. I'm prepared to make the call.
Right.
Which daughter was it?
It was the daughter that drives.
All of them drive.
I drive.
All of them drive. I have 4 daughters
the
that
daughter
drive.
that got the white car. She's
That's
the daughter
Tatiana.
that I had to call the police
Just a
on.
second.
Her daughter came to my yard trying to fight me, by the way.
No.
The police came out.
All I'm asking is the person that I'm calling Tatiana?
I don't know her real name. I never got
Tatiana does have a white car. She does have a white car,
kids.
but I'm telling you, she wasn't the one that was there.
I'm talking about the
It was
daughter that I'm
Julia.
talking about.
Listen, I find it hard to believe that this dog jumped over the fence. I think that the dog might have jumped at the fence and you got scared and grabbed your daughter. That's a possibility. And that is enough to make you can get over this fence. You telling me that there was a child there of hers that called the dog back. I'm prepared to call that child.
I don't know if you're calling the right one or not.
What?
I don't know if you're calling the right daughter or
Because
not.
I have 6 daughters. Tatiana is the oldest.
Can't help.
And, Your Honor, I'm going to tell you, she has been harassing me from no end. I pull up and my daughter tell you, she started pointing at me. You already sued me once. You're not going to sue me again. Then the second time her daughter, the one I'm talking about that witnessed this, came in my yard and asked me, do you got a problem? I said, no, I have a problem. I'm just going to call your mom. So I called Miss Bell. She came over. We talked like adults. And I told her, I said, Miss Bell, I'm going to call the police because I'm pregnant. I don't need your daughter. I don't need them coming over trying to fight me and my kids because of their dogs. And I have all right to protect my kids from her animals.
You absolutely do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Talicia said the reason she asked her if she had a problem because she had been mean mugging her when she was outside that whole day.
Where is Celicia?
She's at the house. Her number is 662-23.
Real cases, real people.
Neighbor Tasha Bell is responsible for damages from a dog attack.
I have to believe that the dog jumped over this fence.
But can I speak? I'm going to tell you the reason I know she don't know my kids. The daughter that she's talking about, that she called the police on her saying that she's asked her, do you have a problem? Her name is Talicia Washington. She's 15. She got the wrong daughter.
Is that the person who called the dog in?
And it's the person that I had to call the police.
So that's
Talicia Washington.
Yes.
And Talicia said the reason she asked her if she had a problem because she had been mean mugging her when she was outside that whole day. And she asked her if
where is Celicia?
She's at the house. Her number is 662. She don't even know who she's speaking to. Lying self, harassing her.
Is this Celicia? Celicia, this is Judge Judy. I got your number from your mom, and I have a couple of questions for you, okay? Do you remember September 20th and that incident involving your dog? Were you outside when the dog jumped the fence? Did you call the dog? What's the dog's name, by the way? Did you call the dog back into your yard? You did not. Tell me what you saw. The dog was in the gate. You didn't call the dog in the gate. Did you hear your neighbor screaming? Did you hear the dog barking? Okay. Celicia, thanks very much. Bye-bye now.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Celicia says the dog was never outside the gate. I have to consider is whether I actually can visualize this dog jumping over the gate. Quite frankly, I cannot. Celicia says the dog was always inside the gate. Then I have to figure out whether or not the defendant was negligent. Clearly she was not, because she built a fence pursuant to what she was told she had to do. She built a chain link fence that looks, to my eyes, sufficiently high to restrain a medium-sized dog. So I don't think that I can ascribe any negligence to her. Your daughter has said she's never seen the dog outside the fence or crawl through the fence. So I don't know what happened that day, and it may have been that the dog went charging towards the fence and you got frightened. But I'm not satisfied that I can ascribe any negligence to the defendant. Your case is dismissed. We're finished.
Your Honor, please.
We're finished.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
She need money. Not working and need money and wanting to come back for more. She sued me before.
It was a lot of lies told in the courtroom.
I offered to pay her medical bills, but once I received a call from her lawyer,
my